Chapter 462. Soon, the four of them got on the raft and started rowing with a wooden plank. They moved forward at a moderate speed. At this moment, they seemed to have become ordinary people again. They had to row slowly. They didn't dare to row with their hands at all. Otherwise, they would be poisoned to death by the dark water before they reached the ghost world. Even in the process of rowing, there was black gas constantly released from the dark river, wrapping around them. Because of the effect of the tidal, Tianyun could repel the black gas. The others just had to operate the spiritual power in their bodies to repel the black gas. Otherwise, if the black gas invaded their bodies, they would really die on the way to the ghost world. Tianyun also got a wooden plank and rowed with them. When he moved the dark water, he felt like he was moving a thick liquid. It was quite difficult to move. With his strength, it was still very easy. It was just that the others were rowing slowly, so he also slowed down. Otherwise, with his strength, he would definitely be much faster than now. As they rowed the boat, all of them wore solemn expressions as they looked around vigilantly, worried that some kind of attack would come. The outermost demon tree was quite dangerous, let alone the inside. Tianyun looked at them. He originally wanted to ask why they didn't go to the heaven realm, but in the end, he didn't ask. Although this place was divided into 3 realms, among which the heaven realm didn't know how to go up, only the ghost world knew how to go down from here, so they all came here. We have to row vigorously to get out of here and reach the destination. The longer we stay here, the more danger we will be in. As long as we reach the ghost world and take root there, we can create a future. Rumor has it that there are a lot of spiritual medicines in the ghost world, and there are inheritances everywhere. When the time comes, I can take you to find them. Lu Long's voice came from the side. His words made the cultivators who followed him excited, and they all rowed harder. Brother Lu, we all listen to you. Each of their eyes showed a fanatical look, and they were all full of expectations for the future. Their cultivation is not low. They all believe this kind of empty promise. Tianyun frowned. This was like brainwashing. How could there be so many fools who believed it? If it was the body refinement stage, it would be fine. But those who followed him were all spirit core stage or core transformation stage. Brother E, the reason why so many people believe in him is because he has the map of the netherworld. There were also some other miscellaneous treasures that weren't a problem for them to pass through the netherworld passageway. He had shown them a little, so they were dead set on following him. Yang Jiwen said disdainfully, I don't believe him. Lu Long's reputation is too bad, but there are still many people who believe in him. Yes, I don't know where he got the map from. Only God knows if it's real or not. Anyway, we just have to act on our own, Ren Liangchen said. Tianyun didn't know who Lu Long was. He usually didn't care about these things. Hearing what they said, it turned out that Lu Long had something good on him. Otherwise, no one would believe it. Some people believed in him, and some people didn't. To him, it was better to trust himself. Immediately after, he glanced to the side and saw that there were 2 boats that were docked at the shore. Then, they started to climb up the stone walls. Obviously, they wanted to pick the spiritual herbs and flowers here. Not everyone wanted to go to the netherworld. If there was no absolutely safe route, not many people would go to the netherworld. Unless there was no other way, no one would go to the netherworld. It was too risky. Not long after climbing up the stone wall to pluck the spirit herbs, the stone wall suddenly trembled, opened its bloody mouth, and bit down on them. The core transformation stage cultivator reacted quickly and jumped to the side. Just as he was about to grab the stone wall moved again and opened its huge mouth to bite him again. This time, the core transformation stage cultivator couldn't avoid it. He was swallowed by the stone wall and disappeared into it. This scene left everyone dumbfounded, especially those who hadn't seen it before. They were all shocked by this scene. Outside, the trees would attack them, but here, the stone wall would attack them. Sure enough, no place was safe. If they were not careful, they would be attacked. Boom! At this time, a burst of explosion came from the stone wall. The core transformation stage cultivator was bounced out of the stone wall. He was in a mess. Because he couldn't fly, he quickly fell from the sky. Boom! This core transformation stage cultivator sank into the water and quickly rushed out of the water. He kept waving his hands and swam towards the ship, but his speed was quite slow. He used all his strength to swim forward, but as he swam, his face became darker and darker. It was obvious that the poison in the river Styx had invaded his body. Quickly, pull me up! The core transformation stage cultivator roared. His voice was a little hoarse. He couldn't even shout. Soon, his companion quickly rowed the boat to his side. When he came to his side, he didn't dare to use his hands. Instead, he stretched out a wooden plank and let his companion drag him up. After being dragged up, his whole body was black. It was no different from being poisoned. Especially the place where he was injured, it looked like it was rotten. It was really a horrible sight. Huff. 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 Antidote. Antidote. The core transformation stage cultivator lay on the wooden raft and gasped for breath. His companion immediately gave the antidote to his companion. The core transformation stage cultivator felt a little better, but it seemed that he couldn't move for the time being. A core transformation stage cultivator became seriously injured in the blink of an eye and lost his ability to move. This river Styx was really scary. However, his companion's treatment was not slow either. At least, his injuries were stabilized. They seemed to be from a third-rank force. They seemed to be very skilled. It's just that they were unlucky and fell into the trap, Ren Liangchen said. Yi Tianyun nodded. He knew a little bit about this place. The river Styx was the most poisonous place in this place. If they fell into the river Styx and there was no one to treat them, they would be waiting for death. It's so scary. Will we fall into the river Styx? Is the passage to the netherworld so dangerous? Can I go back now? At this time, someone on Lu Long's side showed fear and wanted to leave. You are already here, and you still dare to say such things. Lu Long glared at him and said angrily, if you don't have the courage, how can you become someone powerful in the future? Trust me, I will bring you to the netherworld successfully. After being comforted by him, they calmed down a little. However, they were still very worried about the situation inside. They are all a bunch of disorderly people. They want to go to the netherworld just because they are hot-blooded. They are simply courting death. Leng Hu snorted and felt very disdainful. At the same time, he looked at Yi Tianyun and said, don't tell me you also have the same idea. If you are afraid, it is not too late to go back now. It is not shameful to retreat. Life is the most important thing. If you die, there is no medicine for regret. Leng Hu's words were cold, but his last words warmed people's hearts. His expression was cold, but there was warmth in his heart. Yi Tianyun smiled and said, Brother Leng, this is not enough to scare me. Chapter 463. Leng Hu's words were full of sarcasm, but there was a hint of advice in his words. Yi Tianyun understood what Leng Hu was trying to say, so he didn't think that Leng Hu was wrong. In the outside world, the hearts of people were sinister, so it was normal to be somewhat vigilant. Those who were enthusiastic at the beginning were more likely to cause problems. Leng Hu and the others were very normal. They were all extremely experienced cultivators. Only by obtaining their recognition would they truly help you. Do you know how to get there? Yi Tianyun's eyes lit up. He didn't think of this, he thought that they came here at the same time. We know a little, but we don't know the details. It should be the information spread by the people who came back from the ghost world, and we happen to collect some of it. Otherwise, we wouldn't dare to come here. Ren Liangchen said with a smile. Yi Tianyun didn't care about this. At least, he didn't think that they would be so reckless. As they moved forward, they got deeper and deeper into the ghost world. Soon, they lost the ships behind them. Now, only 3 teams were left. These were the teams that were going to the ghost world. The rest of the teams were here to collect spiritual herbs. It's harder to move here. It takes a little more effort. Leng Hu looked at Yi Tianyun and said in a deep voice. Can you still move? If you can't, we'll slow down. Leng Hu was the first one to ask Yi Tianyun if he could move. It seemed that he thought that Yi Tianyun's cultivation was the lowest, so he wanted to take care of Yi Tianyun. After all, Yi Tianyun's qi was too weak. It was the effect of Yi Tianyun's qi, so it felt weak. The 3 of them were at the 5th or 6th level of the core transformation stage. Even if they were independent cultivators, it was already very good for them to reach this level. This kind of cultivator was not rare. Relatively speaking, there were quite a lot of them. Not every cultivator liked to join a sect. Yes, we can slow down here. It doesn't matter if we slow down. Yang Juwen nodded in agreement. In fact, they all felt quite tired. They had consumed too much spiritual power. Every time they rode, it was like pushing a mountain. I'm fine. This is not a problem for me. I just need to continue moving forward at the same speed. I don't want to stay here any longer. Yi Tianyun smiled. He did not feel any pressure at all. Sure, just tell me if you have any questions. We're on the same boat. We have to help each other, Ren Liangchen said. They thought that Yi Tianyun was trying to show off, so he slowed down a little. Overall, his speed was still impressive. Compared to Lu Long's team, their speed was slightly slower. Lu Long threw a sarcastic look at them and said, Ren Liangchen, why did you slow down? Are you out of energy? If you don't have the strength, go home and drink milk. He was very unhappy that Ren Liangchen had snatched him away. In addition, he already had some friction with Ren Liangchen, so he couldn't help but scold him. This bastard, Yang Jiwen wanted to say something, but Ren Liangchen shook his head and gestured for him to ignore Lu Long. Ignore him. Let's just move forward. It's good for everyone if we don't cause trouble here. A cold light flashed past Ren Liangchen's eyes. He was definitely unhappy, but it was better not to cause trouble for the big picture. Yi Tianyun looked over. Lu Long was happy. The people rowing the boat were all cultivators that he had tricked into coming. They were all willing to row for him. The more people there were, the faster the rowing speed would be. As they continued moving forward, Yi Tianyun's eyes flickered. He immediately said, Big Brother Ren, I feel that something is wrong in front. Pay more attention to the surroundings. Huh? Something is wrong. I don't feel anything. Ren Liangchen looked into the distance. There was no difference from before. Other than the difficulty of rowing, there was no problem. However, they still listened to Yi Tianyun's words and slowed down a little. Obviously, the effect of Yi Tianyun's commander points had appeared. It was somewhat credible. As for Lu Long, he didn't slow down and continued to move forward. Sure enough, a moment later, a white shadow suddenly rushed out of the water and pounced on Lu Long. Before they could react, someone was thrown into the water. He didn't even have time to scream before he disappeared under the water and never got up again. It's a darkwater shark. Ren Liangchen's face darkened. They all saw what it was. It was a darkwater shark that lived here. It was a very powerful monster. Darkwater shark, monster at level 1 of the core transformation stage. It can resist the poison of darkwater. Its body is highly toxic. If you are bitten, the poison will enter your body. If you don't find the antidote within 15 minutes, you will definitely die. The pet's potential is level 3. Its weakness is extreme fire. Killing it will give you the antidote. Darkwater shark skin, darkwater poison. The detailed information of the darkwater shark was exposed under Yi Tianyun's investigation. This thing was really fierce. Its cultivation was at least at level 1 of the core transformation stage, and it would get higher and higher. The most important thing was that it could move in the dark water, which was the biggest difficulty. Dark water sharks could move in the water, but they couldn't. It was that simple. Splash! At this time, another dark water shark rushed out of the water, but this time it didn't rush to Lu Long, but to Yi Tianyun. It just happened to bite Yi Tianyun. It probably judged that Yi Tianyun's cultivation was the lowest, so its target was him. The person who attacked Lu Long before was also at the spirit core stage, so he prioritized killing the weaker ones. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed. Just when he was about to kill the darkwater shark, a cold light flashed and hit the darkwater shark fiercely. It was instantly hit and sent flying, leaving a deep mark on its hard shark skin. It was Leng Hu, who was relatively close to Yi Tianyun. He was holding a high-grade soul tool giant axe in his hand, and he helped him kill the darkwater shark. "Keep rowing, let's get out of here quickly," Ren Liangchen said sternly. "Only by leaving the area of the darkwater sharks will we be safe." Yi Tianyun checked the map of the Netherworld Passage. This area was divided into an area, and they would be safe after leaving. But along the way, they would be attacked by the darkwater sharks, which was a headache. Lu Long sped up the boat crazily and drove forward at a faster speed. Lu Long shouted angrily, "Hurry up! Hurry up! Why do you save so much energy? Hurry up and row!" At the same time, the core transformation stage powerhouses helped to resist the attacks of the darkwater sharks. It was a little difficult, but it was still bearable. Every one of them used all their strength to row forward, and their speed became faster and faster. They were much faster than before, and they had completely forced out their potential. Only Yi Tianyun's speed was much slower, and Yi Tianyun couldn't row the boat. This made them dumbfounded. Why did Yi Tianyun not row the boat at this time? Chapter 464. Yi Tianyun had the same idea, but it didn't mean that the others had the same idea. They had never thought of taming netherwater sharks as pets. They weren't animal tamers, so they didn't think about it. However, when they saw that Yi Tianyun didn't even help to row the boat, they were all stunned. Leng Hu couldn't help but scold him, "Kid, what are you doing? Row the boat. There's no way to kill all the netherwater sharks here. There will only be more and more of them." Leng Hu wasn't joking. There were more and more netherwater sharks around them, and their black bodies emerged from the water. They were ready to attack, ready to pounce on them. Once they smelled the smell of blood, they all showed their heads. They all stared at them as if they were looking for prey, and they were ready to pounce on them. However, Yi Tianyun still didn't row the boat. The other two teams were rowing crazily, one faster than the other, and they couldn't wait to escape from here. "Yeah, row the boat quickly," Yang Jiwen couldn't help but say. He was very anxious now. Yi Tianyun seemed to be scared out of his wits. He stood motionless on the spot. Leng Hu and Ren Liangchen were responsible for dealing with the netherwater sharks, so only Yi Tianyun and Yang Jiwen were rowing the boat, so it wasn't very fast. Now that only Yang Jiwen was rowing the boat, the speed was even slower, and it was basically moving forward bit by bit. "Ha ha ha, luckily I didn't accept that silly kid. He's scared out of his wits." Lu Long couldn't help but laugh when he noticed the situation. He was very glad that Yi Tianyun didn't choose to join them, or he would be a burden. When the other team saw the situation, they couldn't help but sneer. They felt that it was really sad that they had encountered a silly kid who was scared out of his wits after seeing so many netherwater sharks. "Kid, what's on your mind?" Leng Hu shouted, signaling him to wake up. "Row the boat quickly. Don't be afraid, we'll block them." Leng Hu didn't fly into a rage or kick him into the water. Instead, he comforted Yi Tianyun, telling him not to panic. "Big brother Leng, don't worry. I'm not afraid of anything." Yi Tianyun smiled faintly and said, "I've been waiting for this opportunity, waiting for these netherwater sharks to approach. Otherwise, I really won't have a chance." "What?" They were confused. They had no idea what Yi Tianyun was talking about. You guys stay here and watch me, that's all. After saying that, Yi Tianyun threw out a wooden raft. Then, he jumped onto the raft and stood alone in the area. This caused Lu Longlong to laugh so hard that tears were coming out of his eyes. That foolish brat, charging forward alone, isn't he courting death? That's good. Let's attract all the netherwater sharks here. What a bunch of fools. After he said that, he killed the deep water shark with his sword and threw the shark's body to Yi Tianyun's side. The thick smell of blood spread in all directions, attracting more netherwater sharks. This scene enraged Ren Liangchen and the others. Were they trying to kill them? Lu Long, what are you doing? Ren Liangchen shouted. Nothing much. Enjoy yourselves. We'll be leaving first. Lu Long laughed and swaggered off. Lu Long, if I catch up with you, I'll make you die a horrible death. Ren Liangchen was furious. He did not expect that he would be tricked at this critical moment. However, their attention was not on Lu Long, but on Yi Tianyun. Yi Tianyun jumped over alone. Leng Hu and the others were also dumbfounded. Not only did he not want to row the raft, but he also wanted to act like a hero. You brat, why are you acting like a hero? Hurry up and come back. We can deal with them. When Leng Hu lifted his giant axe and was about to go over to help, a netherwater shark had already pounced on Yi Tianyun. Big brother Leng, you guys stay there. Trust me. Yi Tianyun's eyes flashed, and a giant sword, a soul instrument, appeared in his hand. He did not take out a holy instrument to avoid scaring them. Moreover, it was more powerful, and it would not be easy to catch the netherwater shark. Then, he swung the giant sword and slapped the netherwater shark down. The shark landed on the raft, and its huge body shook the raft violently. Fortunately, there were fewer people on the raft. Otherwise, they would not be able to withstand such a heavy netherwater shark. Roar! Roar! The netherwater shark roared. The attack did not hurt it at all. It was just a simple slap, and it did not hurt it at all. What kind of attack is that? Didn't you eat? It can't hurt the netherwater shark at all. Ren Liangchen, you have really found yourself a good teammate. Lu Long saw that so many netherwater sharks were attracted to the netherwater shark, and they did not feel too much pressure. All of them laughed, thinking that it was good to have an idiot. How could they not be happy that such a selfless idea had allowed them to leave this place smoothly? Big brother Lu, it's lucky that you did not ask him to come. Otherwise, we would be in big trouble. Yes, it's better not to accept some idiots. Otherwise, they will drag us down. Hee, with them as bait, we can successfully reach the netherworld this time. They were all excited, thinking that Yi Tianyun was really their lucky star. When everyone thought that Yi Tianyun was a fool, he had already stretched out his hand and his eyes flashed. Catch! Then, a light enveloped the netherwater shark, and less than a moment later, a pleasant voice was heard. Ding! Successfully caught the netherwater shark. Obtained 300,000 experience points and 300 pet catching proficiency points. Without any difficulty, he successfully caught the netherwater shark. Not only was his level not low, but the most important thing was that his cultivation was higher, which greatly increased the success rate. Go down. Yi Tianyun said to the netherwater shark. The netherwater shark jumped into the water and sank to the bottom of the river. Seeing this situation, everyone felt that something was wrong. The netherwater shark should have counterattacked. Why did it jump into the water so obediently? Then, another netherwater shark rushed up, but it was slapped down by Yi Tianyun and fell on the raft. He subdued the netherwater shark in the same way and let it fall into the water again. Leng Hu and the others looked at each other, not knowing what was going on. However, they could all see that Yi Tianyun dealt with the netherwater sharks easily, but he did not hurt them. They did not know why. Hiss! This time, two netherwater sharks rushed over. Yi Tianyun's eyes were cold, and he suddenly waved the giant sword in his hand. One of them was cut in half and fell into the water, and the other was slapped down and fell on the raft. This move was as fast as lightning. Many people could only see the afterimage, and they could not see what was going on at all. For a moment, everyone was stunned, wondering if they were seeing things. Catch! Yi Tianyun used the catching skill again and successfully caught the third netherwater shark. Then, he jumped from the raft and returned to the original raft. Sorry to make you worry. Now we can leave. Yi Tianyun smiled slightly, extremely relaxed. Good boy, your strength is not bad. Let's row the boat now. Leng Hu immediately handed a wooden board to Yi Tianyun so that he could row the boat. No, we don't need to row the boat. Yi Tianyun pointed forward, and then 3 netherwater sharks appeared in front of the raft. They were very obedient. Let them pull our raft. Why do we have to row the boat ourselves? Chapter 465. The 3 netherwater sharks were very obedient in front of him. Except for these 3 netherwater sharks, the other netherwater sharks would not listen to his instructions. They were all surrounding him, ready to attack. They will listen to your orders. Ren Liangchen and the others were taken aback by Yi Tianyun's actions. They couldn't believe that Yi Tianyun was able to control them in the blink of an eye. Is he a beast tamer? Yi Tianyun did not explain. He immediately took out a few ropes and tied them up. After that, he immediately ordered, "Go." The 3 netherwater sharks immediately obeyed his order and dragged the raft forward at a high speed. Their speed was much faster than that of paddling before. They caught up with Lu Long and the others in an instant and easily overtook them. Take your time, you bunch of idiots. Yi Tianyun sneered at them and continued to control the netherwater sharks to swim forward. They were born to live here, so they could easily pass through the lead-like netherwater and pull the raft forward. After passing them, the netherwater sharks behind them immediately shifted their target to Lu Long and the others because they had lost their target of Yi Tianyun. They rushed over again, which made them scream in fear. Hurry up! Paddle! Lu Long hurriedly shouted when he saw the netherwater sharks rushing over so crazily. The other teams followed suit and shouted. They were all dumbfounded. They could only speed up and paddle forward. The previous ridicule was like a slap in their faces. They did not know what it felt like. Now it was their turn to escape. Looking at Yi Tianyun, he was swimming forward very comfortably, and his speed was much faster than theirs. Is that guy still an animal tamer? What the hell is going on? Lu Long's heart was like a stormy sea. He had thought that Ren Liangchen had found a burden and lost money. He did not expect that it was their loss. All of a sudden, the situation has completely changed. Yi Tianyun's side has a great advantage. He easily left them behind and became food for the darkwater sharks. On Yi Tianyun's side, he too had not recovered from the shock. They all looked at him in shock, re-evaluated him, and didn't know what to say. Looking at Yi Tianyun and the netherwater sharks pulling the boat in front of them, they wondered if they were seeing things. What's wrong? Yi Tianyun looked at their shocked expressions and couldn't help but smile. Yi Tianyun could understand why they were so shocked. Netherwater sharks were extremely difficult to tame, but they were tamed in the blink of an eye. Who wouldn't be shocked? Brother Yi, are you also a beast tamer? Ren Liangchen asked after a while. You could say that. Yi Tianyun thought for a moment. Theoretically, he was a beast tamer, but he was much stronger than a beast tamer. Even a beast tamer couldn't tame 3 netherwater sharks in such a short time. So, you didn't kill the netherwater sharks just now to tame them? Leng Hu and the others remembered that Yi Tianyun didn't kill the netherwater sharks before, and others thought that he didn't eat and couldn't exert any strength at all. Yes, if we hurt them, how could they help us pull the boat? Yi Tianyun smiled faintly. Brother Yi, that's not very kind of you. You should have said that you are a beast tamer earlier. I thought you were scared out of your wits, and I was so worried. Yang Jiwen patted his chest. He was really scared out of his wits just now. There were so many netherwater sharks, and there was a person who was scared out of his wits. How could he not be scared? Would you believe me if I told you? Tianyun smiled. Well, I really don't believe it. The three of them looked at each other. It was really hard to believe. Even a beast tamer couldn't tame these netherwater sharks in such a short time. Of course, they rarely saw a beast tamer, but to tame a netherwater shark in such a dangerous place, according to common sense, it would take a long time. It would be fine if it was safer, but it was obviously not worth it to choose to tame the netherwater sharks in such a dangerous situation. It was too dangerous. Unless they could easily tame them in the blink of an eye, no one would be willing to stay. That's it. Since you are willing to take me with you, I will definitely help you. Otherwise, I will really feel a little guilty. Tianyun smiled and said. We were wrong about you just now. We really thought you were scared out of your wits. It turns out that you are very confident. Yang Jiwen laughed a few times and said apologetically, I hope you don't mind. Fortunately, I didn't say anything outrageous. Even if you said something outrageous, I don't mind. The situation was so urgent at that time. It's normal for you to do that. Tianyun certainly wouldn't mind. If it were him, he would also be anxious. Anyway, we are really glad that you can join us. Look, Lu Long and the others are far behind us. They can't catch up at all. Yang Jiwen laughed, and his laughter was full of joy. They were insulted just now, so they must be very unhappy. Now that Lu Long and the others were far behind them, they felt very comfortable. As they continued to move forward, they soon saw the shore. It seemed that there was only one section of the Netherworld River. If they kept going, it would be really troublesome. Look, we are going to the shore. They were pleasantly surprised. Although the netherwater sharks were pulling them, they still wanted to go to the shore as soon as possible. They would only feel slightly more at ease on the ground. If they could fly, it wouldn't be a problem. The problem was that they couldn't fly, so they would feel more at ease on the shore. However, the shore was gray, as if it was covered by a layer of fog. They couldn't see the situation inside at all. They couldn't even use their spiritual senses to easily explore the depths inside. It was undoubtedly more difficult. As expected, the road to the netherworld wasn't easy. The deeper they went, the more difficult it was. This should be the death fog. It will gather every once in a while. We can only go deeper after it disperses. It seems that we can't go in for now, Ren Liangqin said while looking at the death fog. Tianyun nodded. Of course, he knew this place. It was clearly marked in the Netherworld passage map. He even knew how to walk, but there were layers of fog. Even with the map, they couldn't walk easily. Therefore, after they went ashore, they could only wait for the fog to dissipate. Otherwise, they wouldn't dare to go in. If one were to wander around randomly and take the wrong path, it would be a dead end. Especially if they couldn't walk back, that would be a real nightmare. If Ming Chen and the others came from this side, it would be really easy. But did they come from here? Tianyun frowned. If they came from here, it would be a little troublesome. Chapter 466. Ren Liangqin and the others stayed on the shore and observed the situation inside while recovering their spiritual power. They had consumed a lot of spiritual power during the battle with the darkwater sharks. It should be said that they were consuming spiritual power at every moment because they had to resist the black gas that was constantly invading them. So, unless they left this place, they would have to consume spiritual power at every moment. The consumption of spiritual power was not low. The deeper they went into the black gas, the more amazing the effect was, so they needed to consume more spiritual power to resist. Of course, there was one exception, and that was Tianyun. He didn't feel anything because the black gas couldn't get close to him. Fortunately, he looked no different from the others. They were all repelling the black gas. The biggest difference was that Yi Tianyun didn't need to consume any spiritual power at all, but they had to consume spiritual power all the time, so they had been taking recovery pills. They had made a lot of preparations to resist the black gas. Brother Yi, do you have recovery pills? If not, I've prepared a lot. I can share some with you. Ren Liangchen took out a few bottles of pills and handed them to Yi Tianyun. Thank you, big brother Ren. I'm prepared. If I didn't come prepared, I'd be an idiot. Yi Tianyun smiled and refused. His cultivation is much higher than them, so he doesn't need any recovery medicinal pill from beginning to end. Unless he encountered an extremely strong opponent, he really did not consume much spiritual power, let alone feel the slightest bit of pressure. If that's the case, I won't force you. Just let us know if you need anything, Ren Liangchen smiled. Yes, there's still a long way to go. We need to help each other to get through. Just let us know if you have any questions, Yang Jiwen added. Leng Hu was silent for a while, then said, just tell me if you need anything. Thank you. His voice was sonorous. Although it still sounded cold, it was clear that he was very grateful. Yes, we really have to thank you. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to get here so easily. They all looked at Yi Tianyun gratefully. They felt that it was great to be able to team up with him. It was all thanks to Yi Tianyun's help that he was able to get here so smoothly, so he must be grateful. Their attitude towards Yi Tianyun has become even better. After showing the standard he should have, he immediately got their approval. Before, they recognized his courage, now they recognized his strength. Monster Tamer was definitely a rare profession, much rarer than Divine Pattern Master. However, very few people were passionate about it, mainly because it was too difficult and they could only control a few monsters. Unless one was born with a good understanding of demonic beasts, it was not recommended to become a beast tamer. It would be better to become a blacksmith. Let's talk about this when we get to Underworld. There's still a long way to go. Yi Tianyun looked at the Netherworld passage. They had only traveled a little more than half of the distance, and the rest of the journey wouldn't be easy. Yes, it's still too early to thank us. Ren Liangchen smiled and said, Brother Yi, you did well earlier, it's our turn now. We have been preparing for a long time to go to Underworld. We don't want Brother Yi to be the only one in the limelight. That's true. The three of us originally planned to come like this. Big Brother thought that we should bring more people, so I didn't object. Even without anyone's help, we still have a high chance of reaching Underworld successfully. Yang Jiwen's eyes flashed with confidence. Of course, with Brother Yi, it will be even easier for us. The more helpers we have, the better. They smiled knowingly. Their confidence in this trip to Underworld was boosted. Yi Tianyun didn't say anything. He knew from the Underworld passageway map that the situation later would be even more difficult. To them, it was a nightmare. To him, it wasn't too much pressure. It wouldn't be a problem to bring the three of them along. Seeing their enthusiasm, Yi Tianyun felt that it was not a bad idea to help them. As the death fog was more serious now, they could only wait here for it to disperse. The time it took for it to disperse and gather was not fixed, so they could only wait. After waiting for a long time, the sound of rowing came from behind. They all turned around to look. It was Lu Long and the others. There were only a few of them left now. Their cultivation was at the core transformation stage. There were no spirit core stage cultivators left. Obviously, all of them had died on the way and were eaten by the deep water sharks. Only the core transformation experts with higher cultivation could stay until the end, but they still looked very embarrassed. It was not easy to fight with the deep water sharks, especially when there were so many of them. No one knew how many deep water sharks there were in the river Styx, but there were many of them. The longer they stayed there, the more dangerous it was. You are really slow. You only came up now. You are almost as fast as a snail. I advise you to go home and drink milk. Ren Liangchen retorted fiercely. They immediately took out their weapons, and there was a hint of murderous intent in their eyes. Before, because there were deep water sharks around and they were in the river Styx, they didn't dare to fight at will, let alone talk back. But now it was different. They had all come ashore, and now it was time to settle the score. Lu Long's face suddenly changed when he saw their attitude. They had just experienced the baptism of the deep water sharks, and now it was Ren Liangqin's turn. As expected, they had to pay for what they had done. Brother Ren. I just said it casually. I hope you can forgive me and let me go like a fart, Lu Long immediately begged for mercy. They had expended a lot of energy now. If they fought with Ren Liangqin and the others, they would definitely die. Then your fart is really stinky. Yi Tianyun looked at him coldly and said, I don't know who just called me an idiot or a stupid boy. That's my fault. I shouldn't have said that. Lu Long said bitterly, I just got carried away, but I have the passage map to the inside. As long as you are willing to let me go and cooperate with me, I am willing to share it with you. Lu Long didn't want to cause a conflict with them. It was dangerous now, and the more people, the better. Everyone wanted to go to the netherworld, not to fight for treasures. Therefore, whoever had the passage map would more or less have a chance to cooperate. As expected, as soon as he said that, the eyes of the people around him lit up, especially the group from before. That's not necessary. Ren Liangqin looked at him coldly and said, don't forget what you did before. You threw the deep water shark's body here and made us targets. Have you forgotten? Yi Tianyun's eyes turned cold. Of course, he had seen what had happened before. He was also very unhappy that he had been tricked. Becoming a target in such a dangerous place was basically no different from being dead. Chapter 467. Lu Long's face darkened when he heard Ren Liangqin's words. He thought that Ren Liangqin would forgive him after he apologized and belittled him. However, Ren Liangqin did not forgive him and even slapped him. How could he accept such an insult? Don't go too far. I just threw the netherwater shark's body to the side. I didn't throw it to you on purpose. Now that things had come to this, Lu Long was still denying it in every possible way. It was truly disgusting. Under normal circumstances, when killing a demonic beast, at most, it would be thrown to the side. How could it be thrown to the side of them? This was really casual. Do you think we're idiots, or do you think we're idiots? Yi Tianyun looked at him calmly. Sometimes, you have to be responsible for your own actions. I'll give you a chance to jump down and swim back up. I'll pretend that nothing happened. Lu Long's face changed. What was the difference between that and suicide? The netherwater here was more terrifying than the outside. If he swam back up, he would be crippled even if he didn't die. Especially in such a dangerous place, how long would it take for him to recover? This place was constantly being attacked by the black gas. If no one protected him, he would definitely die. His companions who came with him might not be able to protect him all the time. Ren Liangqin and the others looked at each other. They did not expect Yi Tianyun to be so ruthless, but they liked it. Yes, as long as you swim back up, we won't pursue this matter anymore. Otherwise. Ren Liangqin's eyes turned cold. The three of them were filled with killing intent. What happened earlier was almost the same as trying to kill them, so it was reasonable for them to kill him. They were already being merciful by only letting him swim down. At least he would have a chance to survive. It seems like you really want to fight with me. Do you really think I'm a pushover? Lu Long's eyes were extremely cold. He turned his head and looked at the people on the side. Do you want to know how to get out of this death mist? Let me tell you, this death mist is very dangerous. If you're not careful, you'll die. But I know how to get out of here. As long as you fight with me, I'll give you the map. In order to save himself, Lu Long immediately asked for help from the other team. There were only 3 people left on their side. They were in a very bad situation. They were poisoned by the netherwater shark's attack, and now they had to face 4 people at the same time. Without a doubt, they could not deal with them, so they had to ask the other team for help. The other team had 3 core transformation stage cultivators, and they seemed to be quite reliable. However, no one knew what was going on with them. Yi Tianyun and the others looked over there. They want to see what they have to say. A map, huh? If it's just a map, then the reward is too low. The middle-aged man in the lead shook his head. He felt that the reward was too low. At the very least, you need to add some weapons. Otherwise, if you want the 3 of us, hunting tiger, to take action, the price is too low. You are the Lai Hu brothers. Ren Liangqin's face darkened. Yi Tianyun didn't know who the tiger hunting brothers were, but judging from Ren Liangqin's expression, he knew that they weren't ordinary people. All of them were above level 6 or level 7 of the core transformation stage, which was a very powerful cultivation level. Previously, he had noticed that the few of them had killed the deep water shark quite easily, and those who had come with them had all died. However, the 3 brothers had no problem, which showed their strength. The 3 of them have done all kinds of evil things. They often kidnap young girls and humiliate them. Recently, they had killed their way into a sect and committed all sorts of evil deeds. They had even insulted the eldest daughter of the sect, causing them to be hunted down. Originally, they were hiding in the Netherworld Empire, but now that the Netherworld Empire had been destroyed, they had nowhere to hide, so they could only flee to the Netherworld. I didn't expect that we would meet these 3 scums here. Ren Liangqin sent a message to the 3 of them. Yi Tianyun's eyes are cold, so they are scum. It seems like we are quite famous. You even know our names. Liangqin said with an evil smile on his face. The titles of the 3 of you resound like thunder. How could we not know about you? Fear flashed across Lu Long's eyes. As long as you can help me, not only will I give you the map, I'll also give you a top-quality soul armament. I won't lie. What about you two? Liangqin and Liangqin looked at Lu Long and Liangqin and asked. We have to contribute too. The other 2 were stunned. Wasn't Lu Long just asking for help? What did it have to do with them? If you fellows don't want to pay, you can choose to jump down. If there are 2 laps, I won't charge you anything. Hunter Chang's eyes were filled with killing intent and he didn't look like he was lying. We will give you a high-quality soul instrument, huh? 2 high-quality soul instruments. That's all we have. Although they were core transformation cultivators, their situation was not good. It seemed that they had just broken through to the core transformation stage not long ago. Not bad. Liangqin and Liangqin looked at Yi Tianyun and Liangqin and asked with a smile, their offer is not low. How much will you pay? Liangqin and Liangqin released their qi. They were at level 7 and 8 of the core transformation stage. After the battle, they didn't consume much of their qi. They were not weak. Liangqin and Liangqin's faces changed. They thought that they would attack immediately. He didn't expect that they would ask Yi Tianyun and Liangqin. Did this mean that if Yi Tianyun offered a higher price, they would be dead? Offer a price? Yi Tianyun said calmly, why? Ren Liangqin and Liangqin looked at them coldly. They didn't want to compromise at all. Even if they were weaker than Liangqin, they didn't want to compromise at all. Especially to these disgusting cultivators, compromise was a great humiliation. Why? Isn't our strength enough? Liangqin and Liangqin took out their high-quality soul instruments. Each of them used a different weapon, but the smell of blood filled the air. Liangqin didn't know how many people they had killed. In that case, I will give you a price. I promise you will be satisfied. Yi Tianyun smiled. What price? Liangqin's eyes lit up. They were going to the ghost world, so they needed to collect more resources. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to settle down in the ghost world. I will spare your lives. Is that enough? Yi Tianyun said calmly. Chapter 468. Spare the three of us. Lai Cheng was stunned. Lu Long and the others were also stunned. They thought that Yi Tianyun would really give them some reward. Who knew that he would spare their lives? Fuck, Big Brother is playing with us. Lai Feng's eyes turned cold. He pulled out the long sword from his waist and stared at Yi Tianyun. Lai Cheng raised his hand to signal them not to be impulsive, but his eyes were filled with killing intent. It seems that you think you are strong enough to kill all of us in one go. Of course, he was talking about Lu Long and the others. They were also going to participate in the battle, so there were 6 core transformation stage cultivators in total. At least not a fool would be able to figure out who had a higher chance of winning. Especially the 3 Lai Hu brothers, their cultivation was amazing, so they would definitely have the upper hand in a fight. What do you think? Yi Tianyun looked at him indifferently and said. Kill him for me, then jump down and swim for a lap, and I will spare your lives. Did I hear it wrong? Kill them and you want us to swim for a lap? What do you think we Lai Hu brothers are? Lai Cheng said angrily. Do you really think that you are invincible? Even if you are a beast tamer, do you have the ability to command the deep water sharks to attack me? They were not worried at all that Yi Tianyun was a beast tamer. The deep water sharks were good, but Yi Tianyun's control was limited, especially on the shore. How could he command the deep water sharks to come up? The deep water sharks could not walk on the shore, let alone swim. Although their cultivation was already at the core transformation stage, their spiritual wisdom was not developed, so their control of spiritual power was not as strong as that of cultivators, so they could not fly at all. Core transformation stage cultivators could fly by controlling their spiritual power, which was equivalent to using spiritual power to fly in the sky. Of course, the effect was different. We don't need the deep water sharks, we are enough. Leng Hu held the giant axe in his hand, ready to fight. With just you? Lai Cheng sneered. I don't know how many of you I have killed, and how many of you begged for mercy in front of me, but in the end, a figure flashed past and appeared in front of him. Before Hunter Cheng could react, a palm had already slapped him heavily on the face. Hunter Cheng only felt pain on his face before he was sent flying. He slid back a long distance before he barely managed to stop. His face was swollen, and who knew how many of his teeth were broken. Blood continuously flowed out of his mouth. It was a horrible sight to behold, and his face was directly disfigured. Following that, another figure flew over and stepped on Lai Cheng's body. He said calmly, "Beg for mercy." Who did you say begged for mercy? After speaking, Yi Tianyun stomped down fiercely. With a peng, Lai Cheng's body was stomped into the ground. The violent stomp caused Lai Cheng to spit out a mouthful of blood. He felt like his internal organs had been crushed. No one could react to the sudden change. Hunter Cheng, who had the highest cultivation, was instantly killed. The one who killed Hun Cheng was none other than Yi Tianyun. He looked very young, but he was able to display such a violent power. Die. Yi Tianyun stomped his foot heavily, and with a bang sound, Lai Cheng was completely trampled into the ground, and there was no sign of life. Under such a violent power, how could Hunter Cheng withstand it? Ding, successfully killed Hunter Cheng. Reward, 1,200,000 EXP, 4,800 Crazy Point, 1,000 SPS, Reward, Hunting Tiger Step, Wild Impact. Reward, Detoxification Pill, Hunting Tiger Claw, 5 times EXP pill. His sin value is really quite high. It's even higher than the ministers. It's not that the ministers don't kill many people, but the things they do are too heartless. In a blink of an eye, Hunter Cheng was killed. When Yi Tianyun turned his head and looked at them, they felt a chill in their hearts. How can there be such a monster? Hunter Cheng's cultivation was the highest among them, but he was killed in an instant. It means that Yi Tianyun's cultivation is much higher than them. Big brother! They screamed. Their big brother, whom they respected so much, had been killed so easily. No way. Is Brother E really that strong? Even the eldest brother of the hunting tiger brothers was killed so easily. Ren Liangchen and the others were dumbfounded. They knew that Yi Tianyun's strength was definitely not bad. They didn't expect Yi Tianyun to be this strong. An 8th level core transformation stage cultivator was killed in 2 moves, and he didn't even have time to say a word. Lu Long and the others' legs trembled. They thought that the 3 brothers were the strongest, but they didn't expect that the youngest kid was the strongest. How strong is he to be able to kill Hunter Ching so easily? Peak of core transformation stage. They didn't dare to think about Void Spirit stage. Void Spirit stage is too difficult to cultivate, it belongs to the level of Phoenix Feather and Qilin Horn. There are many peak core transformation stage cultivators, but Void Spirit stage cultivators are very rare. Just take a look at the Netherworld Empire. Once a cultivator breaks through to the Void Spirit stage, he or she would become a great general or an important minister. The difficulty of cultivation was too high, so the corresponding level was different. This is the last time. Do you want to jump down and swim, or do you want me to kick you down and swim? Yi Tianyun looked at them coldly. Hunter Feng and the others swallowed their saliva. In the face of Yi Tianyun's terrifying pressure, should they jump down or not? You killed my big brother. I will kill you. Hunter Feng shouted. He didn't choose to compromise, but instead, he grabbed his weapon and stabbed Yi Tianyun with all of his strength. He was like a gust of wind, and his speed was so fast that it left an afterimage in everyone's eyes. Yi Tianyun didn't even bother to look at Hunter Wind as he kicked Hunter Wind with his foot. Bang! Hunter Wind was sent flying by Yi Tianyun's kick and fell into the Netherworld River. Splash! Hunter Feng sank to the bottom of the river Styx, and he didn't get up again. Even if he didn't die, he would be seriously injured. How could he swim up to the bottom of the river Styx? He could only sink to the bottom and didn't get up again. Second brother. I will kill you. Hunting Rock roared and rushed towards Yi Tianyun. He was ready to fight with Yi Tianyun to the death. It seems like you are quite loyal. Then, get the hell out of here. Yi Tianyun didn't show any mercy, he rushed forward at a faster speed, aimed at Hunting Rock, and kicked him into the Netherworld River. Splash, another person fell into the river Styx, and he didn't get up again. The river Styx didn't float people up, it only sucked them in, so they would only sink to the bottom of the river Styx. Chapter 469. The 3 hunting tiger brothers, who had astonishing cultivations, were killed just like that. In total, it took less than the time it took for a stick of incense to burn. This kind of power was really shocking. This caused them to be dumbfounded. Apart from shock, there was even more shock in their hearts. Yi Tianyun turned his head and looked at Lu Long, his eyes flashing with a fierce light. What about you guys? I don't know how you'll answer. Are you going to jump down and swim 2 laps, or do I have to help you swim 2 laps? Lu Long and the others had bitter expressions on their faces. They had originally wanted to join hands with the 3 hunting tiger brothers to get rid of Yi Tianyun and the others. Now that they had all been killed by Yi Tianyun, they did not know what to say. I'm willing to give you the map unconditionally, please let me go. Lu Long knelt down, trembling. This time, he finally gave in and did not dare to resist at all. He knew that resistance was useless and would only cause him to die earlier. The 3 hunting tiger brothers were the best example. They were killed in the blink of an eye. This was the result of resisting. I've said it before. Either you go down by yourselves, or I'll kick you down. Choose one. Yi Tianyun's gaze was ice cold as he indicated for them to jump into the Netherworld River and swim 1 round. We also need it. The 2 core transformation stage cultivators said with a bitter face. It seems like this has nothing to do with them. That's right. Didn't you think about dealing with us before? Yi Tianyun said calmly, at least, from your expressions, I can tell that you have such intentions. After he said that, he used his chi to suppress them. He didn't need to use too much chi, as long as he was at the peak of core transformation stage, it was enough to suppress them. Their expressions changed. These words weren't false. They really did have such thoughts. They must have listened to Lu Long's words and joined forces to deal with Yi Tianyun and the others. Who knew that there would be such a big reversal and they would be completely crushed? It was too late for regrets. We. They had long faces and wanted to say something, but they didn't know how to explain. Jump, or I'll help you. Make your choice. Yi Tianyun said coldly. We will jump by ourselves. The two of them paused for a moment. First, they consumed a few antidotes before jumping into the Netherworld River. As soon as they jumped down, they immediately let out blood-curdling screams. The underworld water continuously invaded their bodies, and in the blink of an eye, their bodies were already pitch black. However, in order to survive, they could only keep paddling forward. Otherwise, it wouldn't be as simple as swimming. They would die here. When Lu Long saw this, his expression changed. He knew what it was like to be poisoned. It was definitely not a good feeling. He turned to look at Yi Tianyun, gritted his teeth and said, Sir, other than giving you this map, I have other secrets to tell you. It's definitely worth it. Ren Liangchen and the others looked at Yi Tianyun, not knowing what to do. Do you want to jump down yourself, or do you want me to help you? Yi Tianyun's voice was as cold as ever. He had no other choice. I'll jump. Lu Long gritted his teeth and turned around, revealing a bit of killing intent. However, he could only endure it for now. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't escape. He could either escape into the mist of death or jump into the river Styx. There was no third option. When he arrived at the river Styx and was about to jump down, he immediately unleashed all his strength and rushed into the mist of death. He didn't choose to jump into the river Styx. Instead, he chose to escape into the mist of death. Although jumping into the river Styx would give him a chance to survive, the chances were too slim. The mist of death was different. He wouldn't die immediately if he rushed into it. He didn't believe that Yi Tianyun would catch up with him. However, before he could run more than a few steps, Yi Tianyun had already flashed in front of him and looked at him coldly. His speed was much faster than Lu Long's. In the blink of an eye, he had intercepted him. There was no way for him to escape. From the beginning, Yi Tianyun felt that it was very likely that Lu Long would trick him. As expected, Yi Tianyun was planning to escape into the mist of death. Therefore, Yi Tianyun, who was well prepared, quickly intercepted Lu Long and stopped him easily. Why? Where do you want to go? Yi Tianyun said calmly. I want to sprint. If I go down. Lu Long said with a bitter face. No need, I will help you down. Yi Tianyun kicked Lu Long fiercely. Lu Long screamed and fell into the water. He quickly sank to the bottom of the river and never floated again. This kick was not light, and it directly broke his bones. It would be a miracle if he could still swim. Ding, successfully killed Ho Fong. Reward, 100. 000 EXP, 4. 600 CPS, 900 SPs, obtained martial arts hunting wind claw and hunting wind steps. Obtained detoxification pill, healing pill, hunting wind claw. Ding, successfully killed Ho Fong. Reward, 100. 000 EXP, 4. 600 CPS, 900 SPs. At this time, the two of them died in the river Styx. They didn't die when they were kicked into the river, but after a while, they were poisoned to death. The two cultivators who swam out only swam one round outside before they quickly swam back. When they reached the shore, they grabbed onto the shore and rushed up. After they came up, they were gasping for breath. It seems that the poison has penetrated into their bones. It will take a lot of effort to detoxify them. The two of them were lying on the ground, motionless and breathing. They took a lot of detoxification pill in advance, but they don't know if it will work or not. Yi Tianyun is a man of his word. Since they did it, he will let them go. If they can survive, then it is their own ability. If they can't survive, then they deserve it. Brother Yi, your strength. Ren Liangqin and the others finally came to their senses, and their eyes were filled with shock. They thought that Yi Tianyun was strong enough as a beast tamer, but they didn't expect his cultivation to be so strong. My strength is not bad. I won't drag you down. Yi Tianyun said with a smile. As long as they are not hostile to him, Yi Tianyun will treat them with a smile. That's not what we mean. I mean, you are too strong. Is he really at the core transformation stage? Ren Liangqin said in shock. Yes, he is at the peak of the core transformation stage. Yi Tianyun said with a smile. He really is at the peak of the core transformation stage. They gasped, but it was still within their expectation. Judging from his strength, Yi Tianyun was indeed at the peak of the core transformation stage. Yi Tianyun didn't lie. He only used his cultivation at the peak of the core transformation stage. He didn't use his cultivation at the void spirit stage. How can we say that you are dragging us down? We are dragging you down. Ren Liangqin said with a wry smile. They had been taking care of Yi Tianyun before, but they didn't expect that Yi Tianyun's cultivation would be much stronger than theirs. There is no such thing as dragging us down. We are not in the ghost world yet. Yi Tianyun said with a smile. Ren Liangqin patted his chest and said confidently, that's true. Let's cut to the chase. We promise to bring you to the netherworld. Chapter 470. Ding. Successfully killed Lu Long. Reward, 440. 000 EXP, 4400 crazy point, 500 SPs. While they were waiting, Lu Long's death notification came, and Yi Tianyun got EXP. Because he didn't use crazy experience mode, he didn't get a lot of EXP. But this is not a big problem for him. 1,000,000 EXP is nothing to him, the most important thing is to complete the quest. If he can get some treasures or soul accumulating grass in the phoenix nest, he will make a lot of money. He doesn't believe that there is no soul accumulating grass in such a big phoenix nest. After half a day, the death fog finally showed signs of dissipating. Look, the death mist finally began to dissipate. They were all excited. After waiting here for so long, the death mist finally began to dissipate. If they continue to stay here, they will be sucked dry. The black qi here is much stronger than outside, and the consumption is much higher than before. Indeed, it is finally dissipating. Yi Tianyun nodded, but this is just the beginning. If they walk too slowly, the death mist will sweep over them several times. The difficulty will be greatly increased. It is too difficult to reach the ghost world, but there are still many people who want to go to the ghost world. It was all for a better cultivation environment, which was much better than this place. Just the spiritual power concentration in the normal area is much higher than here. As for how much higher, they have to go there to find out. Soon, the death mist dissipated very quickly, and in a blink of an eye, it dissipated relatively thin, but there is still a layer of death mist shrouding the area. It did not completely disappear. But they can vaguely see the road ahead. Unlike before, even if they use their spiritual sense to perceive it, they can't easily explore it. Let's go. If we are late, it will be too late. Ren Liangqin nodded and took out a map from his storage ring. It is a detailed map, describing how to go through the death mist. Yi Tianyun glanced at the map and found that it is roughly the same as the Netherworld Passage map he obtained. There is not much difference. He didn't expect that they really got a real map, not a fake one. It is very likely that they found a lot of information in this area. It is possible that they found several maps, and finally confirmed this one. After looking at the road, Ren Liangqin immediately took the lead and walked forward, and smiled at Yi Tianyun. Brother Yi, this time it is our turn. We spent a lot of effort to get this map. We can definitely get out of here. How can you be so sure? Yi Tianyun asked. Of course we're confident. We spent a lot of money to buy it from the experts who returned from the netherworld. How could it be wrong? Ren Liangchen smiled and said, if we don't come prepared, we will die. We don't want to die here. We don't have any enemies. We live a good life in heavenly border continent. Even if we want to die, we won't come here. Yi Tianyun's eyes lit up. An expert who returned from the ghost world. Did he really return from the ghost world? This was good news. He had always been curious about how the cultivators from the underworld came back. Now, it seemed like he could find out a little. I'm sure, he has the ghost world's token, he definitely doesn't have it in the heavenly boundary continent. Ren Liangchen said with certainty. Do you know where he came from? Yi Tianyun asked. Ren Liangchen shook his head and said, he didn't want to talk about it. He didn't want to talk about it no matter what. He seemed to have experienced something terrifying. I thought I could get more information or find out about other passages, but it seems like this is the only passage to the netherworld. So that's how it is. Yi Tianyun nodded. Although he didn't know where they came from, he was sure that Ming Chen wouldn't come out from here. This way, at least the situation here could be ruled out, and there was no need to guard this place. But if he wasn't here, where could he be? Immediately, they set off quickly. The two core transformation stage cultivators were still lying on the ground. No one knew if they were dead or alive. It would take a lot of effort to detoxify them, and whether they could survive or not was not something that Yi Tianyun could do. Anyway, he had given them a chance, and if they couldn't survive, then they couldn't blame him. Under Ren Liangchen's lead, they quickly moved forward and turned left and right according to the map. In front of them was not a forest, but a maze of rock walls. There were many paths, and they didn't know which one was the right one. Fortunately, they had a map, so they wouldn't get lost. Go this way. Ren Liangchen led them to the left side, and said, be careful, even if this is the right way, it is not safe here. This was a natural danger zone, and it wasn't a formation set up by a powerful cultivator, so everything would change according to the situation. As they continued to walk forward, suddenly a black shadow came towards them, and it happened to pounce on Yi Tianyun. It didn't pounce on anyone, it just pounced on him. A long sword appeared in Yi Tianyun's hand, and he turned around and slashed at the black shadow. In a blink of an eye, the black shadow was cut in half. Then, a stream of black blood splashed out, and Yi Tianyun quickly propped up a protective shield to block the black blood. However, when the black blood touched his shield, it made a sizzling sound, trying to burn through the shield, but Yi Tianyun's spiritual power is not weak, of course, it's impossible to burn through the shield. Brother Yi, what happened? They all turned around and saw a black worm on the ground. It was as thick as an arm, and it looked very disgusting. This is a dark water worm. If you are bitten, you will be injected with a lot of poison. It is very disgusting. Ren Liangchen immediately recognized it after seeing it. And it is quite fast, Brother Yi's skills are not bad, otherwise, we wouldn't have been able to block it. It's okay, let's continue. Yi Tianyun signaled them to continue to move forward. Ren Liangchen nodded and continued to lead them forward. As they continued to move forward, there were a lot of dark water worms along the way, but they all had one thing in common, and that was to attack Yi Tianyun. Strange, why are they all attacking Brother Yi? They felt very strange, they didn't let Yi Tianyun walk at the back, they were all walking at will, but they only attacked him. Yes, it seems like the dark water sharks are the same, probably because my aura is too weak, so they give priority to me. Yi Tianyun smiled and didn't care about it. He suppressed his aura to be very weak, so it was easy for these monsters to attack him, and most importantly, his sin value was too high, so it was easy for him to attract their hatred. Chapter 471. A high sin value would always attract hatred, whether it was towards humans or demon beasts, it had a great effect. As long as there was hostility, he would be the first to be targeted. For example, if they both scolded, even if the words were the same, he would definitely be the first to be hit. This was the reason why his sin value was too high, he would attract too much hatred. There was only one way to solve this, and that was to use up his sin value, which was the simplest and most violent way. But how could he be willing to do that? He would definitely save up to buy a new set that was worth millions. In this state, Etienne's ability to attract hatred would become stronger and stronger, and now he was playing it incisively and vividly. As long as it was a dangerous place, he would definitely be involved. If his cultivation was too low, he would definitely be the first to die. But there was no other way. In order to exchange for a high-grade set of sin, he could only endure it. Brother E, in fact, we can all resist, there is no need for you to do it alone. They all looked at Etienne worriedly, although the dark water worm was very fast, they could still resist it. Yes, I know your cultivation is very high, but to resist it alone, isn't that looking down on us? We all came prepared. If we can't even deal with these little worms, how can we survive in the underworld? Yang Jiwen was a little angry. It was good to have Etienne's help, but it was all Etienne's help, it made them very apologetic. Yes, I am very angry. Leng Hu's face sank, he also felt unhappy. Etienne felt helpless, he just randomly found an excuse. How could he really do it on purpose? His sin value was too high, there was nothing he could do. I know your level, but this time you lead the way. I will help to resist the demon beasts. This is a normal division of labor, right? Etienne said, now is not the time to discuss this matter, we should hurry up and pass the test, we can talk about other things after we go out. He immediately shifted his attention, they looked at each other, this was the only thing they could do for now. Then they continued to move forward. Etienne continued to attract hatred, not a single demon beast attacked them, it was all aimed at Etienne, this made them feel very guilty. However, there was one more thought in his mind, and that was gratitude. Etienne could feel it because he could see with his naked eye that their favorability towards him was rising. It seemed that they would soon break through to 200 favorability. A friend in need is a friend indeed. Favorability was the fastest to increase. This made him want to win them over. It would be great if they could join his Heavenly Clouds mansion. Then, he would have 3 more generals. All 3 of them were core transformation stage cultivators. If they could get more resources and martial arts, wouldn't they be able to soar to the sky? However, he didn't say anything for the time being. He could only wait for an opportunity. If there wasn't an opportunity, then he wouldn't say anything. As they advanced deeper and deeper, the deathly fog began to thicken, causing their expressions to change. Not good. The death mist is starting to condense. It seems like we have to stay here for now. Ren Liangshan saw that the situation was getting worse, so he had to stop. The dense death fog moved quickly, but it came even faster. It seemed to be condensing, but in the blink of an eye, it became dense. Although they could continue to move forward, it was easy to go the wrong way when they couldn't see the road clearly. They could only see half a meter in front of them clearly, so how could they judge the road? The best way was to stay where they were and wait for the dense death fog to dissipate. It seems that we still can't get out of here before the dense death fog gathers. This is the most dangerous time. We can't see the surrounding situation at all, so we don't even know if there is a sneak attack. Their expressions were grim. The reason why this place was called the dense death fog was because they couldn't sense anything. They couldn't sense anything, but the problem was that the sneak attack of the demon beasts could sense their existence. This was the scariest part. Getting lost wasn't scary at all, as they could walk slowly, but once the dense death fog gathers, death would be waiting for them. The key was that they didn't know that death was approaching. They could only sense it at the moment of death. They all took out their weapons and looked around vigilantly, but all they could see was darkness, and they couldn't see anything clearly. The fear of the unknown gradually filled their hearts, and they didn't even dare to say a word. As soon as they heard the slightest sound, they would immediately look in that direction. "Do you believe me?" Etienne suddenly asked. His voice broke the silence, and they all looked over, not knowing what he meant. Of course, why wouldn't we believe you? We've seen Brother Yi's ability, so who wouldn't believe you? Ren Liangchen was confused. Then give me the map, and I'll bring you out. Yi Tianyun didn't tell them that he had the map, as it was equivalent to giving them a slap in the face. Bring us out in this dense fog. They looked at Yi Tianyun in disbelief. Even if his cultivation was higher, it was impossible for him to clearly see the surrounding situation, right? It shouldn't be a problem. As long as you believe me, I think we can get out of here. Yi Tianyun smiled faintly, looking very confident. The three of them looked at each other, but they didn't think for too long. Ren Liangchen passed the map to Yi Tianyun. Basically, you saved our lives, we believe you. Ren Liangchen said solemnly. After Yi Tianyun took it, he took the lead and walked forward. Thank you for your trust. Don't worry, I'll bring you out. It's not a difficult thing for me. After saying that, he threw out 2 dark water bugs and asked them to explore the way forward. After seeing it, they immediately understood what was going on. Brother Yi, no wonder you dared to say that, so you have the dark water bugs to lead the way. We can't sense the situation in front of us, but the dark water bugs can. I was so nervous that I forgot that you're also a monster tamer. With their help, even if it's the death fog, we can still walk out. Yang Jiwen and the others were overjoyed, they really forgot about that. Yi Tianyun smiled. He was already prepared, and he specially caught the dark water bugs to find the way. As a pet owner, he could easily sense the situation of his pets and let them find the way for him. This was the advantage of being a monster tamer. No matter where he went, he could instantly go back to his own home by catching a pet there. What kind of maze was useful to him? It's useless. Yes, let's go, let's get out of here quickly. Yi Tianyun smiled and quickly led them forward. The reason why he was attacked by many dark water bugs and other monsters along the way was that they attacked him. Chapter 472. Under the guidance of the dark water bug, they walked forward easily. In addition to dealing with the demon beasts that constantly pounced on them, there was no other problem. For those with low cultivation, this is a nightmare, but for him, it is easy. Not only can he have the dark water bug to find the way, but he also has a lot of strength. The death fog can't stop them, they can walk without any delay. Originally he wanted to rely on the soul guidance to find the way. In theory it can be done, but the soul guidance only gives a rough direction, it is not very accurate. Of course, if he activates the luck aura, he can walk out at will. With the terrifying luck aura, he can definitely walk out easily, but the consumption of crazy point is quite terrifying, so it is better not to try this method. Fortunately, there is the dark water bug to guide the way, so everything becomes very easy. After walking for a long distance, the death fog in front of them began to thin. It is not that the death fog is ready to dissipate, but they are ready to go out. Soon, under the leadership of Yi Tianyun, they walked out of the death fog. The first thing that came into view is not a dangerous scene, but a group of people. That's right, a group of cultivators had set up camp and were meditating in the distance, as if they were living here. Yi Tianyun glanced at them and found that their cultivation is not weak. All of them are above the 6th or 7th level of core transformation stage. There are even some peak core transformation stage cultivators, the total number of at least a dozen or 20 cultivators. It is really a lot. If it is outside, it is equivalent to a very powerful force. It is just that they seem to have their own camp, they are not together. When they appeared, they were very vigilant, and when they saw the 4 of them coming out, they were shocked. It was inconceivable that so many people could come out after passing through the fog of death. Especially coming out of the death fog, it is even more incredible. Generally, people wait for the death fog to dissipate before coming out. Is the death fog dissipated now? Of course not, it is still covering the area behind them. But after coming out, there is no death fog here, even the black gas has become thin, as if they walked out of the death fog. But the scene in front of them clearly tells them that they did not go out. There is a towering cliff not far from Yi Tianyun, there is no other road here. This means that they have to climb over this mountain, otherwise they will not be able to pass. This towering cliff pierces the sky, the top is blocked by a layer of black clouds, it is completely impossible to see what is above. And this is the last checkpoint, Nether Gate. After passing through this place, they would be able to successfully reach the Netherworld. This was their final hurdle. Most of the black gas here was absorbed by the cliff, so there didn't seem to be any black gas being released around them. They could continue to stay here for a long time without needing to replenish their spiritual power. He turned his head and looked behind him. Behind him was the passageway of the death fog. Just like that, he walked out of it without any mishaps. We're finally out. It was too smooth. It's all thanks to Brother E. Otherwise, we'd be in trouble. We might even die in there. Ren Liangchen sighed. Ren Liangchen said, E Tianyun of E Tianyun. E Tianyun Nether Gate is of. But if they knew that E Tianyun already had the map, what would they think? No matter what, they are ashamed of themselves, they promised to show off, but E Tianyun took all the credit, they do not know what to say. Based on this situation, E Tianyun does not even need to team up with them, it might be easier for him to go alone. You don't have to say that, this should be the last checkpoint, right? Through this, we will successfully reach the Netherworld, E Tianyun said with a smile. Yes, as long as we pass through this Nether Gate, we will successfully reach the Netherworld. Ren Liangchen looked around and said in a deep voice, but this is the most difficult part, so many cultivators came here, but they are trapped here. Either we go back the way we came, or we climb up this cliff, there is no other choice. Their expressions are solemn, it is also not easy for them to climb up this cliff, so many cultivators are trapped here, they do not think they can climb up immediately. But before coming here, they have already thought about this, so they have long been prepared. When they walked over, all the cultivators looked over, but they did not pay attention to them, they just glanced at them, and then ignored them, focusing on their cultivation. Yi Tianyun saw some mockery in their eyes, but more of it was despair, it seems that being trapped here for a long time has worn down their spirit, they do not want to move anymore. When they approached the cliff, they immediately felt a strong black gas seeping out from the cliff, it is obvious that this is not an ordinary cliff, if they climb up, the black gas will invade their bodies. The higher they climb, the more serious it is, once they are invaded, if they cannot hold on, they may fall from the top. If they can fly, this cliff is not a problem for them at all, they can easily fly over. Now, it is different, they can only climb up with their bare hands, they cannot fly at all. At the same time, some cultivators continue to climb up, bit by bit, at a speed that is neither fast nor slow. In the process of climbing, the black gas is released from the cliff, and then it penetrates into his body. At first, it can be expelled, but the higher it is, the more difficult it is. If it is a mountain climbing, it is not a problem for them to climb for a few days, no matter how steep it is, they can easily conquer it. Here, every climb is so difficult, the cultivator at the 7th level of core transformation stage seems to be unable to hold on any longer. But he still insisted on climbing up, ready to climb to the top of the black cloud. Suddenly, the black cloud rushed over and penetrated into his body. The cultivator's expression changed. His originally fair face turned black in an instant. After climbing a few more times, he finally could not resist, let go of his hands, and slowly fell from the sky. As soon as he landed on the ground, he knelt on the ground. Huff, huff, huff. I failed again, I failed again. The cultivator panted heavily and began to disperse the black gas in his body. However, the speed was still a bit slow, and he could only disperse it bit by bit. There are many people like him, some of them are meditating on the side, obviously they have climbed before, and they have failed, so they stayed here to meditate to recover. After recovering, they continue to climb up, they do not know how long it will take to climb to the top. Chapter 473. Those who couldn't pass the test were all failures, and some of them had failed more than once or twice. However, no one showed any sympathy to them. They just sat down and meditated to recover. There are newcomers again. This time, 4 of them came at once. They are really lucky. How can there be so many people like this? Unbelievable. That's right. But what's the point of them coming here? Once they experience this place, they will know that it is meaningless to pass the death fog. This place is much more difficult than the death fog. Hee, we can see the feeling of newcomers failing again. I remember that last time, there was a newcomer who couldn't react in time and fell to his death. I don't know how high they can climb for the first time. I think they can climb up to 500 feet at most. 500 feet. I think it will be good if they can climb up to 400 feet. I don't know much about this place. Can they resist the black chi? They were discussing among themselves. Suddenly, the focus fell on them. Maybe they saw that Yi Tianyun and the others were about to climb up, so they immediately had a new topic to talk about. This seemed quite harmonious, but in fact, each of them was a ruthless person. They were able to pass through so many dangers, so they must be very strong. Moreover, there were half good and half bad people in the ghost world. However, they didn't plan to attack Yi Tianyun. In addition to medicinal pills, weapons, and the like were useless here. They couldn't help them pass through the netherworld gate, so what's the point of robbing them? Unless they didn't have any medicinal pellets. Newcomers, do you have extra medicinal pellets? An expert at the peak of core transformation stage stood up from the side. It seemed like he had just recovered. He walked towards them when he saw them. This peak core transformation stage expert was not old. He was only in his 40s. He looked kind and kind. However, no one knew what he was thinking. Ren Liangchen and the others were shocked. They didn't know what this expert wanted to do. They were worried that this core transformation stage expert would attack them. Yi Tianyun's expression was calm. He took out 2 bottles of ordinary medicinal pellets and threw them to the expert. Can you tell me the details of this place? The core transformation stage cultivator took the bottle and opened it. After smelling it, he nodded and said, not bad at all. Thank you. After receiving the pill, the core transformation stage powerhouse said with a smile. Actually, we just need to climb over there and we can reach the ghost world. You all know this. Ren Liangchen and the others were furious. Isn't this nonsense? He more or less knew a little about this place. If he climbed over, he would definitely be in the netherworld. The question was what the situation here was like. Calm down. This little brother is very good. He doesn't look anxious at all. That's the attitude you need. Because regardless of whether you are anxious or not, after experiencing it a few times, you will realize that being anxious is useless. The core transformation stage cultivator glanced around and said, see? They are all losers, including me. Who hasn't failed a few times here? So calm down and listen to me. Don't panic. Actually, it's not difficult. The higher you climb, the stronger the black gas will be. The higher you climb, the more pressure you will feel. Especially when you reach the top of the black cloud, you will feel the pressure of thousands of pounds. Coupled with the invasion of the black gas, your body will not be able to bear it. It's very easy for you to fall from the top. If you are capable, you will be able to adjust quickly and land steadily. If you can't adjust, you will die, just like the other side. He pointed at the piles of bones on the side, turning from corpses to skeletons. It didn't take too long to turn a corpse into a skeleton here. After turning into a skeleton, it would be quickly swallowed up by the ground and gradually disappear. This kind of strange phenomenon happened frequently in this place. The corrosive force here was too strong, so it was normal for the bones to be swallowed up. Other than that, there is nothing else to pay attention to. If you really can't pass, I advise you to go back the way you came. However, staying here is a kind of training. I will go back after a while. Thank you so much for the pill, little brother. The core transformation stage cultivator smiled and sat down again. He continued to use the pill to recover. Obviously, he felt that his recovery speed was slow, so he came to ask for the pill. "Oh, it seems that you have a lot of recovery pills on you. Little brother, can you give me some?" Another core transformation stage cultivator said as he walked towards Yi Tianyun. "What information do you have? Tell me, and this bottle of pills is yours." Yi Tianyun took out a bottle of pills. He wanted to understand the situation here. "Information? No, I just want to ask you to give me some pills," the cultivator said casually. "No, please go back," Yi Tianyun said indifferently. "It seems that you are quite bold. I'm not the only one who's asking you for pills. What do you think?" The cultivator smiled sinisterly. Then, 3 or 4 core transformation stage cultivators stood up. Their auras were not weak. Obviously, they thought that they were new here and wanted to get some pills. After staying here for a long time, the pills that they prepared were almost used up. Yi Tianyun was not a kind person. What did it have to do with him if they didn't have any pills? "Enough, I don't care about the others, but I will protect this kid." At this time, the core transformation expert who took the pill from Yi Tianyun before snorted coldly. His aura is at the peak of the core transformation realm, which is one of the strongest among all the core transformation experts. "Lu Feng, it seems like you're sincere in making things difficult for us." The cultivator frowned, feeling very displeased. "I think this kid is not bad. You can do whatever you want to the other 3, but no one can touch him." Lu Feng's tone was indifferent, but it was full of majesty. The other cultivators looked at each other and finally said, "Okay, we will give you face. I won't touch this kid, but you can definitely touch the other 3, right?" "As you wish," Lu Feng said indifferently. The cultivator immediately turned to look at Yi Tianyun and said, "You are lucky. Hand over the rest of the pills, or don't blame us for being rude." Leng Hu and the other cultivators were angry, but when they were about to curse back, a figure rushed over and kicked the cultivator fiercely. The cultivator spat out a mouthful of blood and fell to the ground. Ding! Successfully killed Qing Yang. Reward, 1,200,000 EXP, 48,000 Crazy Point, 600 SPS, obtained Martial Art Demon Soul Claw, Demon Cloud Step. Obtained items, Recovery Pill, Detoxification Pill, Tianyi Armor, High-Grade Soul Tool. Chapter 474. Yi Tianyun looked coldly at the cultivators around him. These are all ruthless people. If he doesn't act ruthlessly, he won't be able to intimidate them. Those who can come here are definitely not simple, the point is that they are cruel and can do anything. Yi Tianyun killed a core transformation realm cultivator in one move. It shocked everyone. Ren Liangchen and the others weren't surprised at all. With Yi Tianyun's overbearing power, he could easily kill a core transformation stage expert. It's just that Yi Tianyun's sudden attack caught them off guard. "Who else wants my medicinal pill?" Yi Tianyun looked at everyone's shocked expression and asked again. "Lu Feng, don't blame me for not giving you face. Kill him." One of the core transformation realm cultivators' eyes were filled with killing intent. 3 core transformation realm cultivators immediately rushed towards Yi Tianyun. Obviously, they have a good relationship with the core transformation realm cultivator who was killed before. The rest of the core transformation realm cultivators went to check on their companions to see how serious the situation is. Lu Feng looked at Yi Tianyun's eyes and looked at the cultivators who attacked Yi Tianyun with a sympathetic smile. Bang, bang, bang. Yi Tianyun was merciless. He flew up to meet them, and with a sudden kick, he sent them flying one by one. He didn't need to do too much. Each of them only needed one kick, and before they could react, they were already stuck to the wall. Then, they lay on the ground, unable to move and breathless. Ding! Successfully killed Peng Yun, gaining 100,000 EXP, 700 Crazy Point, 800 SPs, obtained Martial Art Pushing Heaven Palm, Reverse Water Cloud. Obtained items: Pushing Heaven Palm, Earthquake Stomp, Recovery Pill, Detoxification Pill. Ding! Successfully killed Lu Chen, gaining 150,000 EXP, 4. 800 Crazy Point, 850 SPS. Ding! The three of them were instantly killed by Yi Tianyun. They didn't even have the chance to beg for mercy. This time, he didn't let those core transformation stage cultivators swim for a while and then let them live. Instead, he directly killed them without any hesitation. The two places were different. There were fewer people there, and after swimming one lap, one would not be far from death. If one could endure it, it would be considered one's ability, and it meant that one was not fated to die. Things were different now. If he didn't intimidate them, he wouldn't be able to calm them down. Anything else? Yi Tianyun didn't mind killing them all. This way, he could gain more experience. Although it wasn't a lot, he still understood the principle of accumulating experience. 3 people were killed in an instant. This time, it really shocked the others, especially when they went to check on the cultivator who was sent flying. One of them said in shock, "Dead, dead?" 3 core transformation stage cultivators who were at least at the 6th or 7th level of the core transformation stage were instantly killed. Even a peak core transformation stage cultivator couldn't do it so easily, right? Could he be at the void spirit stage? But that's not right. Why would a void spirit stage expert come here? Their hearts trembled, and they began to back away. In addition to fear, there was also anger in their eyes. What, are you not convinced? In the future, when you fight, please use your brain. Brains are very good, I hope you have it. Yi Tianyun glanced at them lightly, then looked at Lu Feng and said with a smile, "Thank you for your help just now. You gave me the pill, so I should help you, but now it seems that you don't need my help." Lu Feng shrugged his shoulders and said, "Let's get to know each other." He stood up again. He recognized Yi Tianyun's strength, so he wanted to get to know him. Previously, he thought that Yi Tianyun was just a passerby, so they didn't know each other. Yi Tianyun. Yi Tianyun simply introduced. Lu Feng. Lu Feng smiled and immediately turned to look at the others and said, "Brother Yi's words are very pleasant to hear. Brains are good things, I hope you all have it. I said before, don't bully anyone you see. If you kick an iron plate, you will be happy. Now, I was right, right?" The cultivators were angry, but they did not dare to say anything. They could only keep their words in their hearts. "Brother Lu, has anyone succeeded in crossing over this period of time?" Yi Tianyun asked. Of course, there were 2 people who succeeded in crossing over a while ago. Their cultivation level was not as high as mine, but they managed to cross over. Lu Feng shook his head and said, "It seems that some skills are needed. Cultivation level is definitely needed, but with some skills, one can cross over. If one's attributes match the situation here, then it will be even easier." Attribute. Dark attribute? Yi Tianyun mentioned a relatively rare attribute. It was a rather rare physique, similar to a spatial physique. Yes, you can say that. Or it can be said that it is relatively easier to restrain the power here. Lu Feng glanced at them and said, "Work hard. Put in a bit more effort and you will be able to cross over. Brother Yi, you have to be careful. Unless you kill all of them, once you fall down from above and are seriously injured and unable to fight back, you will be in trouble." Lu Feng said the last sentence through telepathy. The last sentence was said by Lu Feng's divine sense transmission. Obviously, he wanted to make friends with Yi Tianyun. It's good for everyone to have a good relationship with a strong master. Thank you for the reminder. Yi Tianyun smiled faintly and said, "But they won't have this chance." Yi Tianyun turned around and said to Ren Liangchen and the others, "Are you ready? Are you ready to climb up and successfully cross on your first try? Are you confident?" Of course. They nodded their heads, full of confidence. The cultivators watching from the side showed a mocking expression, but most of them looked at them with resentment. All of you are dreaming. Do you think you can climb up on your first try? You are too naive. Hee, aren't the newcomers so naive? When they come down from above, we will. Just watch. I don't think they will be more than 500 feet tall. They were all staring at Yi Tianyun. Of course, only a small group of them were left. Most of them just watched from the side and had no intention of making a move from the beginning. He could not rule out the possibility that they would take advantage of him later, but it had nothing to do with him because he would succeed in one try. Soon, after Ren Liangchen and the others adjusted their breathing, they immediately began to climb up. As soon as they climbed up, black gas immediately drilled into their bodies and kept eroding their bodies. They clenched their teeth and quickly climbed up, not stopping for long. Yi Tianyun was the last to climb up. When he put his hand on the wall, he immediately felt a surge of power surging out from inside and seeping into his body, trying to erode it. Devour. Yi Tianyun used the devouring divine skill without hesitation. Then, the black gas that surged out quickly turned into his experience. Not only did it not cause him any harm, it was even beneficial to him. Chapter 475. To others, this place was a nightmare. To him, it was a piece of cake. As more and more black gas gushed out, he absorbed more and more experience points. It was a pity that he couldn't extract the black gas forcefully. Otherwise, he would definitely collapse the cliff by absorbing the black gas. As long as he could absorb it, there was nothing he could not absorb. What a pity. It would be wonderful if I could extract it by force. Yi Tianyun shook his head and continued to climb. The higher he climbed, the more experience points he absorbed: 7,000 experience points, 8,000 experience points, 9,000 experience points, 10,000 experience points. He climbed up bit by bit. He did not rush up all at once. No matter what, it was a pleasure for him. He did not feel any pain at all. Unless the amount of energy gushing out was more than what he could absorb, it was a pleasure. Yi Tianyun was neither fast nor slow. He just followed behind Ren Liangchen and the rest. He did not plan to surpass them. He would climb as fast as they could. At first, Ren Liangchen and the rest rushed up with all their strength. They were quite fast, but they began to slow down as they climbed. At this time, they had already reached the 300 feet region. They were about 200 feet away from the height that they thought was no more than 500 feet. Normally, they would reach the height of 200 feet in less than a breath's time. They had to climb up bit by bit. If they continued to climb, they would reach the black cloud when they reached the height of about 300 feet. This meant that they had to climb at least 300 feet to reach the black cloud area. They were still quite a distance away from the black cloud. It seemed like they had slowed down a lot. It was indeed difficult to climb to the height of 300 feet. As they continued to climb, they soon reached the height of 400 feet. They continued to climb up to the height of 500 feet. In fact, their current situation was a little bad. The black gas had already invaded their bodies, making them look slightly darker. However, they could still hold on and continue to climb. Yi Tianyun squinted his eyes and looked at the situation. The situation here was a few times better than the situation below. He could see that just from the experience points he was getting. Now that he was getting 20,000 to 30,000 experience points each time, it was enough to show how difficult it was. No wonder they said that 500 feet was their limit. For Ren Liangchen and the rest, it was a very big limit. Whether they could continue to climb was another matter. Look, they won't be able to hold on much longer. They definitely won't exceed 500 feet. That's for sure. The number of people who can surpass 500 zhang for the first time can be counted on one's fingers. I don't believe they can surpass 500 zhang. They were all very confident that Ren Liangchen and the others would not be more than 500 feet away from them. Brothers, we must charge forward. We can't let those guys look down on us. Ren Liangchen roared and quite a bit of the black gas within his body was forced out. He then continued to climb up. Not only did he not slow down, he even moved slightly faster than before. That's right, we won't lose to anyone. Yang Jiwen and the others clenched their teeth and continued to climb up, wanting to show off their strength. Leng Hu did not speak, but his grave and stern expression was enough to prove his mood. With this resolute strength, they really did increase their speed. Then, under the astonished gazes of the crowd, they rushed up 500 feet in one go. This caused the people below to be dumbfounded. They felt that this was simply too inconceivable. They never thought that they would really be able to climb up. Yi Tianyun, who was below, nodded his head. He felt that their willpower was really not bad, and their minds were very strong. It seemed that they had experienced a lot to reach this step. Otherwise, how could they be so determined? Along the way, Yi Tianyun was very satisfied with their situation, so he wanted to recruit them. The first requirement for him to choose people was their mind. If their mind was not firm enough, it would be useless no matter how talented they were. The path of cultivation was long, and it would be very difficult to succeed without a firm belief. No way, it's really more than 500 feet, it's really more than 500 feet, but so what? I don't believe that they can successfully climb up in one go. If they can successfully climb up, I will walk upside down from now on. One by one, they changed their previous words. Fortunately, they did not place any bets before, or they would have suffered a great loss. Under the surprised gazes of the crowd, they continued to climb up, but their speed was getting slower and slower. When they reached 60 feet, Yang Jiwen, who had the lowest cultivation, could not hold on anymore. His face darkened, and just when he wanted to continue climbing, his other hand had already lost its strength, and he fell from the sky. Brother Yang. Ren Liangchen and the others' expressions changed. They saw that Yang Jiwen's condition was bad, and he looked like he was about to faint. If this continued, even if he did not fall to his death, he would be seriously injured. At that moment, a rope was thrown out, and Yang Jiwen was dragged over and back. The person who threw the rope was none other than Yi Tianyun. He saw an opportunity and dragged Yang Jiwen back. Just like that, Yang Jiwen hung on his body a little. At that moment, a terrifying energy came from the cliff, and it was several times stronger than before. However, it was all converted into experience points, and it entered his body. It was really a pleasure. The effect is doubled. Is this a problem of bringing an extra person? Yi Tianyun was a little surprised. He did not expect such a situation to happen. Ha, that kid still wants to bring an extra person up? Doesn't he know that he will die faster this way? What an idiot. It seems like he can't hold on for much longer. Let's get ready, what a hero. I have never seen anyone who can bring an extra person up, and he is no exception. All of them laughed ferociously, and it looked a little scary. Brother Yi, hurry up and put him down. You will increase the burden on yourself by doing this. It's fine for one person to pass through the nether gate, but with an extra person, the effect will double. If you continue to go up, you will not be able to hold on. Lu Feng hurriedly reminded. They all felt that Yi Tianyun was too reckless and too ignorant. As expected of a newcomer who did not understand the situation here, he did the most stupid thing possible. Yi Tianyun turned a deaf ear to them and continued to climb up. He said calmly, continue to go up. Let me see your limit. Ren Liangchen and the others looked over. They wanted to persuade Yi Tianyun, but when they saw the determination in Yi Tianyun's eyes, they swallowed their words. They nodded and continued to climb up with all their strength. Yi Tianyun's position in their hearts was getting higher and higher, and so they chose to listen to him. Chapter 476. Ren Liangchen and Leng Hu struggled to climb up, while Yi Tianyun slowly followed behind them and kept absorbing the energy. Soon, Yang Jiwen slowly woke up. He really fainted just now, and after a while, he woke up. As soon as he woke up, he found himself tied up by Yi Tianyun and hung on his body. He climbed up bit by bit, and it looked extremely difficult. Brother E, what are you doing? Put me down. I will drag you down. Yang Jiwen shouted in a weak voice after he regained his senses. Just stay there and recover. When you recover, you continue to climb up, that's all. Yi Tianyun said indifferently. We will climb up on the first try, not the second time. Yi Tianyun's words not only shocked them, but also shocked everyone in the audience. He wants to pass on the first try. How can he say such stupid words? So far, they have never seen anyone pass on the first try, unless they are super strong, such as the Void Spirit stage. They may pass on the first try, but they don't believe that Yi Tianyun has the cultivation of the Void Spirit stage. If he has this kind of cultivation, why would he go to the ghost world? He can already be a king here, so going down there is just asking for trouble. Did I hear it wrong? They want to pass on the first try. You heard it right, that kid wants to pass on the first try. Does he think he is strong just because he killed a few people? Who cares, let's just watch them make a fool of themselves. It's impossible for them to pass on the first try. They sneered at Yi Tianyun, thinking that what they can't do it either. Brother Yi, Ren Liangchen and the others were deeply infected by Yi Tianyun's confidence. They felt that Yi Tianyun's words are very powerful, and it is easy for them to trust him. Then, they increased their strength and continued to climb up, and soon, Len Hu began to be unable to hold on. Although it requires skills to pass on the first try, it also requires cultivation as a foundation to support them, so Yang Jiwen was the first to give up, followed by Len Hu. In a situation where there was no technique, cultivation was the best strength. Humph, Len Hu snorted, his hands could no longer hold on to the cliff, he fell to the ground. However, Yi Tianyun's rope was faster. Then, he was dragged over and hung on his body. At this time, the surging energy doubled again, which meant that it had multiplied several times in a row. In an instant, he had reached the limit of what he could currently absorb, 90,000 EXP, 95,000 EXP, 100,000 EXP, without any crazy experience stacking. It had already reached such a shocking level. It could be said that it had reached the limit of absorption. Of course, the limit mentioned here was the limit of the heaven-devouring divine art. It could also be stacked on top of the heaven-devouring divine art. The two could stack on top of each other. On the other hand, the dark north divine art could not be stacked at all. Heaven-devouring divine art, activate. After activating the heaven-devouring divine art, his devouring effect immediately increased greatly, but the experience he absorbed did not increase. Because in this kind of situation, there was only so much energy surging out. He activated it in advance and continued to climb. Every time he climbed a certain distance, the energy surging out would increase. This was the biggest difficulty. When this scene fell into everyone's eyes, they were shocked. It was hard enough to continue to climb with one person, but now he wanted to carry two people. If we continue to climb 10 feet, he will definitely fall. Carrying two people at one time is courting death. They immediately came to the conclusion that Yi Tianyun would not be able to persist for that long. Brother Yi, you, rest well and recover for me. If you have the strength to talk, you might as well recover quickly and continue to climb for me. Yi Tianyun said coldly. Yang Jiwen and Leng Hu did not say anything. There was a bit of determination in their eyes. They took out some pills and stuffed them into their mouths to recover quickly. Indeed, as Yi Tianyun said, if you have the strength to talk, you might as well recover quickly. Ren Liangchen looked at this side, then continued to climb, gritting his teeth. He hoped that he could climb a little higher. He climbed bit by bit, and Yi Tianyun slowly followed behind him. No matter how slow Ren Liangchen was, Yi Tianyun was as slow as Ren Liangchen, like a nanny. I'm almost done, I can continue to climb. Yang Jiwen felt that he had almost recovered, so he decided to continue to climb. Yi Tianyun did not say anything, he only nodded his head, indicating that Yang Jiwen could continue. Yang Jiwen's body swayed, and he grabbed the cliff wall. The impact of the energy made him almost let go. However, he suppressed the black energy and continued to climb, and he really could continue to climb. Although he could not hold on for too long, at least he did not want to be dragged by Yi Tianyun. Without Yang Jiwen, Yi Tianyun immediately relaxed a lot. As long as he left Yang Jiwen and continued to climb, he would not be stacked with the energy. Very soon, Leng Hu was almost done. He did not say anything, he just swayed his body and continued to climb without saying a word. After all, it was better to do more than to talk. Humph. Ren Liangshan finally could not hold on anymore, he fell from the sky, and then he was dragged by Yi Tianyun and hung on his body. This time, he really managed to carry 3 people. As long as the other 2 people could not hold on anymore, he would be able to carry 3 people to climb up. This situation did not last for too long, because the situation above was getting worse, and Yang Jiwen could not bear it anymore. He let go of his hand and slid down. In the end, he was hung by Yi Tianyun. Leng Hu also slid down, and he was dragged by Yi Tianyun. Now, all 3 of them were carried by Yi Tianyun, and they had reached the limit of their strength. However, it was already very amazing that they could climb up to a height of 60 to 70 meters. They were stronger than most of the core transformation stage cultivators present. Very good, then it's my turn. Yi Tianyun climbed up slowly, 1 meter at a time. The people below were dumbfounded when they saw that Yi Tianyun could really climb up with 3 people, and he could still maintain his speed. Especially when they saw that Yi Tianyun was still able to climb up with ease. What's going on? Can he really bear the pressure of 3 people and continue to climb up? Impossible, can he really climb up? I also want to be his companion, it's so good to be hung like this. They were shocked to the extreme, especially Lu Feng. He thought that Yi Tianyun was reckless and ignorant, but it turned out that they were the ignorant and stupid ones. Chapter 477. Yi Tianyun turned the impossible into possible. His speed was neither fast nor slow, and he completely withstood the pressure from the 3 of them, causing his experience bar to explode. 160,000 EXP, 170,000 EXP, 200,000 EXP, Crazy Mode, activate. 3. 2 million EXP, 3. 4 million EXP, 3. 6 million EXP. Yi Tianyun did not miss this opportunity and directly activated Crazy Mode. Every time he died, he could get more than 3 million EXP. Why not? It was much better than killing a core transformation stage powerhouse. The only problem was that they did not drop anything good. However, as his cultivation level increased, the number of good things dropped by the core transformation stage powerhouses decreased. It was easy to drop rare things in the past, but now it was very difficult to drop them. It seemed that as his cultivation level increased, the number of good things dropped by core transformation stage powerhouses decreased. The EXP was exploding, but he could not absorb it all in his current situation. Plus, there were 4 of them, so the effect was too strong. Therefore, the excess energy rushed into his body and was immediately absorbed by the flame of the netherworld in his body. Flame of the netherworld value increased by 500, increased by 600, increased by 700, the experience points had reached the limit, but it was the flame of the netherworld's turn. The speed of the experience points was quite impressive. It seemed that it would not take too long for the flame of the netherworld to level up. After absorbing for a while, he would be able to successfully break through. Not bad, not bad. Yi Tianyun was pleasantly surprised. He did not expect the black chi to be a great tonic. The soul ferryman's effect was useless here. Because he took the initiative to stick to it, the black chi would rush in and the soul ferryman's effect would be ineffective. But this was good, otherwise, he would not be able to gain EXP. Along the way, he continued to rush up, rushing up to 800 feet, even 900 feet. He did not feel like he could not hold on at all, and he could continue to climb. Along the way, the 3 of them could not hold on anymore. The rest time was too short, so they were in a state of free movement, forcing the black chi out of their bodies. This made the three of them look like a burden to others. Otherwise, Yi Tianyun would definitely have an easier time. Regardless of their experience, Yi Tianyun wanted to help them. He felt that they were already quite outstanding. Being able to surpass most people, coupled with his tenacious willpower, was more or less enough. He couldn't just abandon them and let them slowly crawl here, right? He didn't know how long it would take. He had something important to do now, so he wanted to hurry. This is already 100 zhang high, and he can still climb so high while dragging 3 people. Isn't this too terrifying? This is unbelievable. If this continues, we will definitely rush into the black clouds, rushing into the black cloud, and bringing 3 people with him. This kid is dead for sure. Those who held grudges against Yi Tianyun felt that their chance had come. As long as they were swallowed by the dark clouds, even if they didn't die, it would take a long time for them to recover. In this situation, they had enough time to kill Yi Tianyun. Lu Feng, I advise you not to interfere. The 3 core transformation stage cultivators moved closer to the cliff and waited. Once Yi Tianyun was swallowed by the dark clouds, they would immediately launch a sneak attack on him. Lu Feng's eyes flashed. He already had a plan in his mind. As soon as Yi Tianyun landed, he would immediately rush over to save the situation. At this time, Yi Tianyun stopped and turned his head to look down. He immediately smiled at them and said, "Since you want my life so much, then you can take it." Doppelgangers. In the next moment, 3 doppelgangers quickly descended from the sky, and each doppelganger aimed at the 3 core transformation stage cultivators and kicked them fiercely. None of them could react to this sudden change. After the 3 doppelgangers landed on the ground, they quickly kicked the 3 core transformation stage cultivators and sent them flying away. The 3 doppelgangers looked around coldly to see if there was anyone else who was still hostile and wanted to wait for Yi Tianyun to come down. All of a sudden, they were dumbfounded. 3 identical Yi Tianyun. They thought that it was a camouflage, but who knew that it was the real deal? Yi Tianyun was able to kill them in one move. This kind of power shocked everyone once again. Oh my god, what kind of martial art is this? It's so powerful. 3 doppelgangers, they are really powerful. If they hit us, we will definitely die. Fortunately, I didn't get involved in this, otherwise, we will definitely die. So powerful. I'm afraid that his cultivation is really at void spirit stage. Shocked, they all thought about the void spirit stage, which was the cultivation they yearned for even in their dreams. Thinking of this, they felt a chill in their hearts. Perhaps, Yi Tianyun's cultivation was really at void spirit stage. Yi Tianyun, who was climbing up, ignored the situation below and continued to climb up. In one breath, he rushed up to the black clouds. Soon, the black clouds crazily rushed into his body and drilled into his body. When they tried to drill into his body, they were blocked by the power of the soul ferryman, preventing them from entering. These black clouds were very powerful, but they were not as powerful as the soul ferryman title. As long as the black clouds did not take the initiative to suck them in, they would be blocked by the soul ferryman title. Yi Tianyun glanced at them and ignored them. He had no intention of taking off the soul ferryman title. He was clear about the current situation. If he didn't have to drag the 3 people down, he could do so. But now, the situation was different, so he didn't dare to casually absorb the black clouds. He could only let the soul ferryman title block the black clouds. This situation shocked the people below. When they climbed up, the black clouds would immediately attack them. But now, when Yi Tianyun climbed up, the black clouds hid to the side, not daring to approach. This was really shocking. What kind of situation was this that even the black clouds were afraid of it? Why didn't the black clouds approach him? What's going on? Strange, the black clouds seem to be avoiding him. Could it be that even the black clouds are afraid of him? They were all shocked. For better or worse, they had all experienced great winds and waves. Today's matter was the first time in their lives that they were so shocked. It was really unbelievable. Anyone could have fallen for it, but Yi Tianyun was fine. How could they not be shocked? As for Ren Liangchen and the others, because they didn't climb up the mountain, the black clouds did not surge over. They let Yi Tianyun bear it. Of course, with the Soul Ferryman title, even if the power was doubled, he could still block it. Under their shocked gazes, Yi Tianyun rushed into the black clouds in one breath and disappeared from everyone's sight. They looked at the sky for a long time. Their eyes were dull, and they couldn't believe it. Someone really passed the Soul Ferryman on his first try. Most importantly, he brought 3 people with him. Chapter 478. It was impossible for Yi Tianyun to go down, so even if someone was hostile to him, it would be meaningless. Lu Feng looked at Yi Tianyun's disappearing figure and suddenly laughed. It seems that we are still frogs at the bottom of a well. There are too many things that we don't know. I still have a long way to go. Lu Feng immediately rushed up and began to climb up quickly. In just a short while, he had climbed more than 10 feet. It seemed that he had decided to go to the ghost world instead of staying here. Yi Tianyun didn't care what they thought, and he also didn't want to care about it. After he rushed up in one breath, he was shrouded by the black cloud. Apart from that, there was nothing else to interfere with him. It was already very difficult to climb up here, and if there were other things, it would be really dangerous. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully breaking through to 5th level Void Spirit stage. Finally, after a long time of crazy absorption, he successfully broke through to 5th level Void Spirit stage, and this was under the effect of crazy experience mode. It would take a long time for him to absorb the black cloud according to his original level. For him, this place was an incomparable place to provide experience, and it provided him with a steady flow of experience. If he continued like this, he would have no problem breaking through to the peak of Void Spirit stage. The experience here is really rich. Not only can it provide experience points, but it can also provide proficiency in the fire of Netherworld. It's an excellent place to practice. Yi Tianyun was very satisfied with this place. Ren Liangchen and the others who were hanging below gradually recovered. They felt ashamed when they saw Yi Tianyun climbing alone. Yi Tianyun's speed wasn't fast at all. Brother Yi, let us do this by ourselves. They still wanted to hold on for a while, and they didn't want to see Yi Tianyun carrying 3 people by himself. They had all suffered from the pain here, so they knew what it was like. Now, Yi Tianyun had to bear the strength of 3 people, and they felt terrified just thinking about it. Stay there and adjust the black gas in your body. If you don't expel it, your life will be in danger. I don't want to spend so much effort only to bring a dead man up there. Yi Tianyun said in a low voice. This was not a lie. They had already absorbed to a certain limit. Although they had expelled a lot of the black gas and recovered a lot, they had only recovered a little. It was so serious here that he would soon faint again. He knew what Ren Liangchen and the others were thinking, but he wanted to go up as soon as possible. He didn't want to waste too much time. They fell silent and could only listen to Yi Tianyun. They knew that they had reached their limit and needed a long time to recover. This meant that Yi Tianyun had no choice but to leave first. If he waited for them, who knew how long it would take for them to pass? The 3 of them looked at each other and saw determination in each other's eyes. As Yi Tianyun quickly climbed up, after passing through the black clouds, he saw the top of the mountain. Finally, after climbing almost 120 zhang, he successfully reached the peak. We're here. Yi Tianyun's eyes lit up. The height was not very high, but the difficulty was not low. Soon after, he rushed up, brought them to the peak, and put them down. After reaching the peak, they saw a huge teleportation device. Other than that, there was nothing else. It seemed that they could successfully reach the underworld through this teleportation device. It seemed that this teleportation device was a one-way teleportation and not a two-way teleportation device. Otherwise, there would definitely be people coming out. You guys rest here. I'll go down first. Yi Tianyun didn't explain anything. He immediately climbed down the cliff. This stunned them. Once others came up, they would never want to go down. Yi Tianyun, on the other hand, wanted to go down. They could only stay on the top and meditate to recover. They had to expel the black gas in their bodies first. Otherwise, it would be inconvenient for them to move. They were seriously dragging the team down. At least they had to walk by themselves, right? After Yi Tianyun went down, he did not go to the bottom. He stopped at the black cloud and began to absorb the energy here. How could he miss out on so much experience? Remove the title. Yi Tianyun took off the Soul Seeker title. It can be removed without equipping it. After he unloaded it, the surrounding black clouds seemed to have found an exit. They surged toward him and drilled into his body, devouring him in a frenzy. Xiong! The netherworld flame quickly swallowed it, absorbing it all. No matter how much comes, he will devour it. This is a great supplement for him. 2000 proficiency, 3000 proficiency, 3500 proficiency, quickly stacking up, saving Crazy Point to level up. These black clouds are proficiency. It seems that although it is not the netherworld fire, it is definitely related to the netherworld fire. Otherwise, how could he obtain proficiency? After absorbing for a while, a clear sound finally came. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully breaking through to high-grade Earth-level netherworld fire. The next level requires 10 million proficiency. After the level up, the suction force suddenly increased by a lot. The surrounding black clouds were sucked in crazily, turning into more and more proficiency points. It was as if an explosion had occurred. 10,000 proficiency, 20,000 proficiency, 30,000 proficiency, crazily increasing. The speed of absorption has greatly increased, suddenly making the black cloud here thinner. That's right, under his frenzied absorption, the black clouds here had actually become thinner. Other people can't withstand a little bit of absorption, but he is absorbing crazily. How can it not make the black cloud here thinner? Whether it is experience or proficiency, he has gained double, which makes him feel refreshed. This time, it was not a waste of time. Just on the road can make him a lot stronger. What if he goes to the Phoenix Nest? His goal is not limited to Void Spirit stage, but Spirit King stage. After all, in the Divine Kingdom, there are many Spirit King stage cultivators. If he doesn't break through, death is waiting for him. As the black cloud became thinner and thinner, the people below gradually began to see the black cloud becoming thinner, and they were very shocked. Look, the black cloud seems to be thinner. Bullshit, how can the black cloud become thinner? Do you think it is still the death fog? It really has become thinner. What is going on? They looked up at the black cloud one by one. The most difficult thing is there, it is the black cloud. If the black cloud disappeared, then they will definitely be able to pass. Chapter 479. As it became thinner, the cultivators below the nether gate saw a figure at the top. Black clouds continuously entered his body. As the black chi became thinner, they finally saw who was absorbing the black chi crazily. After seeing it clearly, they were all dumbfounded. They thought that the black clouds suddenly became thinner. Who knew that it was Yi Tianyun who was absorbing it crazily? It was as if he did not care about his life and kept entering his body. What's going on? He is absorbing the black clouds. Didn't the black clouds not go over previously? Why can he go over now? The three of them are gone. It seems that they have successfully gone up. But he came down to absorb the black clouds? What is going on? He absorbed so many black clouds, but nothing happened to him. They were all dumbfounded. One wave after another. They had just recovered from the shock, but they were deeply shocked again. There was no end to it. He was absorbing faster and faster. As long as they touched the black clouds, they felt like they were dying. But Yi Tianyun was still absorbing it crazily. He was simply inhuman. Yi Tianyun ignored everyone's gazes and continued to absorb the surrounding black clouds. The surrounding black clouds became thinner and thinner. He did not care about others' gazes. This was a chance to improve his strength. He could not miss it. This kid. Lu Feng had already climbed more than half the distance. When he saw Yi Tianyun absorbing the black clouds, he was shocked. However, he did not slow down. He continued climbing quickly. Especially when he saw that the black clouds had disappeared, he could easily pass through the nether gate. Let's go up too. The black clouds will disappear soon. At this moment, some cultivators reacted quickly. They immediately rushed over and climbed up. They all wanted to go to the netherworld realm. Now that the black clouds were about to disappear, it was their best chance to leave. They did not know when the black clouds would condense again. All they knew was that they would disappear soon. Soon, they started climbing quickly. They were worried that the black clouds would condense again. When that happened, they would not be able to withstand it. This state did not last long. Yi Tianyun quickly absorbed the surrounding black clouds. His flame of the netherworld's proficiency increased by hundreds of thousands. But by this time, the surrounding black clouds had disappeared. There wasn't even any energy coming out of the cliff, so he couldn't absorb any experience at all. What's going on? It's gone. Yi Tianyun was stunned. It was one thing for the dark clouds to disappear, but why did the energy inside the cliff disappear as well? Could it be that the dark clouds outside are related to the energy gushing out from inside? Yi Tianyun frowned. This meant that he had finished absorbing and there was nothing left. There was no point in staying here any longer. The cultivators below him were still climbing at a slow pace, but they all had doubtful looks on their faces. That's strange. Why don't I feel the black gas flowing out from inside corroding my body? You too. I thought I was the only one who was fine. So you're fine too? Yeah, I don't feel anything either. Other than a little pressure, the erosion of the black gas has disappeared. All of them were pleasantly surprised. Now, all that was left was a bit of pressure. It was the pressure from the sky that prevented them from flying. It was still bearable for them, and it was better than being eroded by the black gas. Yi Tianyun looked down and shook his head. It seems that I have absorbed all the energy inside. I thought I would be able to level up a few levels. Yi Tianyun felt helpless. He absorbed all the black gas in the cliff and made it extremely safe. Previously, it was extremely difficult to pass through the cliff, but now, as long as one was at the core transformation stage, he could easily pass through the cliff. If those who passed through the cliff knew what had happened now, they would be so depressed that they would vomit blood. They had risked their lives to pass through the cliff, but now, they could pass through the cliff as easily as drinking a cup of water. Yi Tianyun felt that there was no more experience to absorb, so he quickly climbed up the cliff and returned to the top of the cliff. At this time, Ren Liangchen and the others had already recovered a lot. When they saw Yi Tianyun, they were surprised. Brother Yi, what happened? Are you okay to absorb the black gas? Obviously, they all saw the situation from above, and when Yi Tianyun went down again, they definitely want to see the situation, but who knew that Yi Tianyun went to absorb the black cloud? What can happen to me? If there was something wrong, would I still be standing here talking to you? Yi Tianyun smiled. Although there was nothing left to absorb, the harvest this time was not small. Whether it was his level or the Netherworld Flames level, both had improved a lot. Soon, Lu Feng climbed up from the cliff and looked at Yi Tianyun from head to toe as if he had seen a ghost. Brother Yi, are you okay? What do you think? Yi Tianyun shrugged his shoulders. Unbelievable, unbelievable. You absorbed so much black gas and nothing happened to you. Your actions allowed us to pass through this place easily. It looks like many cultivators who will need to pass through the nether gate in the future will have to thank you. Lu Feng smiled. He felt that this was incredible. Is that so? I don't think they will thank me. Yi Tianyun's expression is indifferent. At this time, other cultivators have climbed up one after another. Without the black clouds blocking their way, they can climb up easily. There is no problem at all. They happened to hear Yi Tianyun's words and showed an awkward expression. They had been mocking him for what he did. Now that they got some benefits, they did not know what to say. Thank you for your help, friend. It was all our fault, please don't take it to heart. Yes. We just felt that you were a little too confident. We have never seen someone so confident before, so our words were a little harsh. We are still very grateful to you, or else we would not have been able to come here. All of them were embarrassed, but most of them were scared. They could only apologize to Yi Tianyun. If he wanted to kill them, who could stop them? Thinking about how those who resisted were killed one by one, they felt terrified. If they provoked Yi Tianyun, they would be dead for sure. No need to thank me, I was just doing my own thing. If there is nothing else, you can leave. I am not a homicidal maniac. Yi Tianyun could not be bothered with these people. It was useless to flatter him. It was already kind enough not to slap them a few times. Thank you Lord, all of them felt like they had been pardoned. They hurriedly walked to the side of the teleportation array and started to pour their spiritual energy into it. Then, they quickly disappeared from Yi Tianyun's sight. They were really afraid that Yi Tianyun would hold a grudge and immediately kill them. With their strength, they would not be able to stop him. Chapter 480. After everyone left, only Lu Feng's group was left. The others immediately ran away, not daring to stay here any longer. Brother Yi, what are you going to do in the underworld this time? Can you tell us? Lu Feng asked. I'm going to do something. What's the problem? Yi Tianyun looked at him and said. No problem. I've always been here and have never been to the netherworld. It would be great if I could have a companion along the way. Lu Feng smiled. I wonder if I can join you guys. That's right. You're right. That's not necessary for now. I have something to do, so it's not convenient. Yi Tianyun refused. He was going to the phoenix nest. It was not convenient for him to bring others there, not even Ren Liangchen and the others. It should be said that other than him, no one else would believe it. Originally, the phoenix nest was extremely against humans. If there were too many people, it would cause conflicts. So, it would be better to have fewer people. So, Brother Yi, are you familiar with the underworld? Lu Feng immediately caught the other meaning in Yi Tianyun's words. If it was the first time he went to the underworld, he would definitely be fine. The most important thing was to familiarize himself with the surroundings and then make other plans. When Yi Tianyun said that he had something to do, Lu Feng immediately caught the meaning. Not very familiar. I just know that there's something I need to do. Yi Tianyun said indifferently. Okay then. Lu Feng saw that Yi Tianyun did not want to say more, so he did not continue asking. If that's the case, I won't say more. See you again if fate allows it. After saying that, Lu Feng walked into the teleportation formation and soon disappeared from their sight. After he left, Ren Liangchen and the others stood up and looked at each other. Then they looked at Yi Tianyun and said, Brother Yi, we plan to go with you. No matter where you go, we'll follow. If it's not convenient for you, we can wait for you somewhere else. The three of them looked at him firmly. It was as if they believed that he would follow them. Why did you do this? Didn't we plan to go our separate ways after forming a team? Yi Tianyun smiled. That was the original plan, but it's different now. Brother Yi, you didn't abandon us along the way, which made us very touched. We intend to follow you forever and are willing to work for you. Ren Liangchen said in a deep voice, we've always been wandering cultivators, so we're willing to serve you. Especially before, we felt that you were more capable of commanding us and becoming our big brother. Yes, your cultivation is the strongest, and you have never abandoned us. You don't mind us dragging you down. Just this point alone is enough for me to decide to follow you. With such a boss, we are willing to obey. Same here. Leng Hu faintly smiled, revealing his ugly smile again. It was clear that he was thinking the same thing. Their gazes were resolute and determined to follow him. It was obvious that Yi Tianyun's actions when they were climbing the mountain had deeply touched them. Based on this point alone, it was enough for them to choose Yi Tianyun. Yi Tianyun looked at them and smiled. Actually, I'm the leader of a good force. I wonder if you are willing to join my force. They looked at each other and exchanged glances. Ren Liangchen nodded and said, that's not a problem. I think joining your force won't be bad. Didn't you say before that you were afraid of being bound? Yi Tianyun smiled and said. This. As long as we can follow Boss Yi, I think we will definitely have a good life. We were afraid of being cheated by the sects before, but with Boss Yi's wisdom, how could we be cheated? Yang Jiwen smiled and changed the way he addressed Yi Tianyun. May I know which force Boss Yi belongs to? Tell us, let's see if we have heard of it before. My real name is Yi Tianyun, and I'm the Mansion Lord of Heavenly Clouds Mansion. I'm also the future Great Emperor who is going to establish the Heavenly Clouds Empire. Do you know that? Yi Tianyun smiled and told the truth. What? The three of them stared at Yi Tianyun with their eyes wide open. The news was too shocking to them, and it took them a while to recover. The Mansion Lord of Heavenly Clouds Mansion. The future Great Emperor of Heavenly Clouds Empire. You are the super expert who destroyed the Netherworld Empire. Yang Jiwen asked in surprise. That's right. Yi Tianyun smiled and said. It seemed like his reputation was quite good. This is unbelievable. A legendary figure is right beside us. And it's our boss Yi. Ren Liangchen and the others were surprised and happy at the same time. They thought that they wouldn't be able to get close to Yi Tianyun, but who knew that Yi Tianyun was right beside them? So, are you willing to join us? Yi Tianyun asked with a smile. Of course. The three of them shouted in unison. Well, welcome to Heavenly Clouds Mansion. Yi Tianyun smiled and took out 3 saint tools. This is a gift for you. Don't show it off to others. Saint tools. The three of them exclaimed. Yi Tianyun was too generous to give them to Yi Tianyun. These saint tools were looted by Yi Tianyun, and he didn't sell them. He originally planned to give them to his subordinates. Instead of selling them for crazy points, it was better to give them to his subordinates. As expected of Boss Yi. He just joined us, and he already gave us such a gift. Ren Liangchen said with a laugh. He felt that it was a wise choice for them to follow Yi Tianyun. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully subduing Absolute Loyalty General Ren Liangchen, plus 100 commander points. As your cultivation level increases, you will be able to continuously gain experience points. It will never stop. Whenever you kill an enemy, you can get corresponding rewards, including EXP, Crazy Points, and Sin Points. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully subduing Absolute Loyalty General Leng Hu, plus 100 commander points. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully subduing Absolute Loyalty General Yang Jiwen, plus 100 commander points. Ding! Congratulations to player Yi Tianyun for successfully subduing more than 3 Absolute Loyalty General Yang Jiwen, plus 100 million EXP, 1 million Crazy Points, and Divine General Summoning Order. Divine General Summoning Order, you can instantly summon loyal generals to your side no matter how far away they are. Can only be used 3 times before shattering, regardless of number. A series of system notifications popped up. There wasn't much reward for subduing these generals, but after reaching a certain number, there was still a reward. Especially the Divine General Summoning Order, which could be summoned at any time, regardless of number. Chapter 481. Successfully subduing 3 generals made Tianyun full of surprise. The more of these generals, the better. He had planned to recruit them as generals before. Just when he was about to talk about how to subdue them, they took the initiative to join him. So, he followed their wishes and subdued them. Since you chose to follow me, I won't give you anything too shabby. Tianyun smiled. Low-grade sacred tool was not a problem for him. The number of sacred tools he obtained was not bad, so he didn't need them for the time being. As long as it wasn't a high-grade sacred artifact, he wouldn't be interested in it. As such, he casually gave away low-grade sacred artifacts. Moreover, they were his generals, so it was only natural for him to give them the sacred tools. It seems that following Big Brother E, we will definitely have a good life. Yang Jiwen touched the sacred tool grade divine sword in his hand with excitement. He seemed to be able to foresee a beautiful future. The other 2 nodded and felt that their choice was absolutely the right one. However, they chose to follow Tianyun mainly because of his unwavering loyalty, not the sacred tool. What was the use of a sacred tool if they were sent to die so easily? If they died in the blink of an eye, they wouldn't be able to enjoy anything. It was better to be free. It's almost time, let's go to the ghost world. Tianyun stopped smiling and shifted his gaze to the teleportation array in front of him. He then took the lead and walked towards the teleportation array. This time, I have something to do in the ghost world. Because it's a special matter, I won't take you there. We heard about that just now. Go to the ghost world and find a place to settle. We will wait for you to come back. They nodded and didn't choose to go with him. Since Tianyun said that he wouldn't let them go, they didn't force him to do anything. They just had to wait for him to come back. But after I come back, I will soon return to Tianyun Mansion. I won't stay in the ghost world. Are you willing to go back with me? Tianyun asked. They had just gone to the ghost world, and they didn't stay for long. He wanted to hear what they thought. If they didn't want to go back for the time being, he would let them stay in the ghost world. Of course we're going back with Big Brother E. There's no point in us staying in the netherworld. Originally, we wanted to go to the netherworld to strengthen ourselves, but now it seems that following Big Brother E is more promising. Ren Liangchen and the others smiled. Well, if that's the case, let's go to the netherworld together. When I'm done with my business, I'll bring you back together. Tianyun smiled. Soon after, they all walked to the teleportation array and poured their spiritual power into it. After it was activated, the teleportation array immediately teleported them out. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared from where they were, and everything returned to normal. The surroundings of the netherworld gate began to condense bit by bit, and no one knew how long it would take for it to return to its original density. At the very least, it would take a long time. For a period of time in the future, the cultivators who came later would benefit. They would be able to easily enter the netherworld realm through the nether gate. Tianyun only felt that his body was empty, as if he was floating. After a short period of blankness, what appeared in front of him was a green grassland. It was a vast grassland that stretched as far as the eye could see, and there was nothing else. The most important thing was that even the others, including Ren Liangchen and the others, were gone. It was obvious that this was a random teleportation, not a directional teleportation at all. No wonder they couldn't go back through the netherworld passage. Even the teleportation was random, let alone going back. It's a random teleportation array, how magical. Tianyun frowned. It would be more difficult to find them this way. However, he had the simplest and most violent way, which was to use the Divine General Summoning Order. However, the Divine General Summoning Order could only be used 3 times, which was undoubtedly a waste of an opportunity. There was nothing wrong with the situation in front of them, and it was not full of dangerous aura like the Netherworld Passage. It looked no different from the Heavenly Border continent. Being called the Netherworld Realm did not mean that there were dangers everywhere, or that there were terrifying auras everywhere. The reason why it was called the Netherworld realm was mainly because it was colder here, and there were more people who cultivated the Netherworld attribute. The Netherworld attribute was relatively broad, including the ice attribute and the dark attribute. As long as it was related to the colder attribute, it could be collectively called the Netherworld attribute. Therefore, this place was called the Netherworld realm, and it was very suitable for cultivators of these attributes to cultivate. It was not that the surroundings were very dangerous, there were ghosts floating everywhere, but it was not much different from the heavenly border continent. There were also green grasslands everywhere, and even the concentration of spiritual power was much higher. It was indeed several times stronger than the heavenly border continent. Just a simple cultivation here would allow one to break through to the core condensation level. The cultivation environment can determine a lot of cultivation conditions, even without taking medicinal pills, one can easily break through. Apart from feeling a little cold, there was no other difference, and this was the Netherworld. It seems that I can only summon them here, I am not familiar with this place. Tianyun didn't hesitate to use the Divine General Summoning command, and an interface immediately appeared in front of him. The names of the 4 Divine Generals were listed, including Su Fei's name. This means that as long as he wanted, he could summon Su Fei to the Netherworld in an instant. But he did not need Su Fei to come here for the time being, so he did not need to choose Su Fei. Send the 3 of them to me. After Tianyun chose Ren Liangchen and the other 2, he immediately activated the summoning order. Soon, the surroundings flashed, and Ren Liangchen and the other 2 appeared beside him. Among them, Ren Liangchen's face was dark, and he fell to the ground as soon as he was teleported. Boss Ren. When they just reacted, they saw Ren Liangchen lying on the ground, his face was dark, and there were a few wounds on his body, obviously, he was bitten by something. He was poisoned, he must have been bitten by something. Tianyun frowned, he did not expect that Ren Liangchen would be in danger as soon as he was teleported here. Yes, I was bitten by a poisonous snake, it was too fast. Ren Liangchen's face was dark, he looked very painful, it was more painful than swimming in the dark water. Don't move, I will help you detoxify the poison. Tianyun took some blood from Ren Liangchen's wound, it was already rotten, if he continued like this, he would definitely die. Soon, he found out what kind of poison it was, and he quickly started to concoct the antidote pill. His speed was so fast that they could not react in time. Boss is also an alchemist? They were all confused. Tianyun did not answer them, he immediately gave Ren Liangchen the antidote after he finished concocting the antidote. Under the effect of the antidote pill, poisonous blood gushed out of the wound, and only then did Ren Liangchen feel better. If he did not use the Divine General Summoning Order, Ren Liangchen would definitely die. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.